The Conservatives are drawing up plans for a new law to limit the power of the European Court of Human Rights in the UK. It would reassert the sovereignty of Parliament at Westminster. The government's most senior legal officer and Beaconsfield MP, Dominic Grieve, warned against the plan, but he was sacked as Attorney General in this week's reshuffle. Police are appealing for information after a number of vehicles were vandalised in the Watford area. Over the last 2 weeks, more than 20 cars have been scratched in South Oxley, some with the initials JDR. Penny Batterson is a resident of Blairhead Drive, where several cars have been damaged.
It all happened one night. Yeah, one Sunday night. All happened. And we woke up in the morning and all our cars were done. Been here 20 years, never had it. Never had it. No.
The Liberal Democrats are calling for an immediate overhaul of the Coalition's housing benefit reform, known to critics as the bedroom tax. Since last year, payments have been cut for tenants with more bedrooms than they need. Writing in the Daily Mirror, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Danny Alexander, says the policy isn't working. Labour say that's hypocrisy, while the Conservatives argue that cutting the welfare bill is essential. MPs are calling for a ban on the use of bed and breakfast accommodation for teenagers in care. The Education Committee says in too many cases, 16 and 17-year-olds are given housing which is unsafe and frightening. The government says young people shouldn't be placed in B&Bs unless absolutely necessary. A model of a giant heron in Watford's new pond is to be culled to make way for a new art installation in September. It comes after concerns were raised on this programme that it could be vandalised by drunken yobs. Alan Goff is from Watford Borough Council.
Perhaps it's suffering, unfortunately, from people doing what they shouldn't do.
Riding the heron.
It will be a surprise every few months, and we look to unveil it and make a thing of it.
In last night's football, MK Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1, and in Matt Bloomfield's testimonial, Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. The weather, a fine and settled day with light winds and some good sunny spells, with a high of 26 Celsius. And get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
It's a good place to live as you get older.
And all this week, we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
I think even when it's raining, it looks nice because it's villagey and pretty.
It's all about where you live.
It is home to us and it's just a lovely village.
Once you've moved here, you'll never leave.
I'll be here for a long time, I hope.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, guys. Just a few last-minute preparations for what's going to be a humdinger of a show, guys. Yeah, girls? Oh, I had an email about you. I must do that email in a bit. Yes, I must remember to do the email. Disappointing menu this morning. I'll flag that up before I say it. Respite row. Scratching scandal. And Pond Life peters out.
Listen, you can't have a good menu if we're going to have a kitchen party as well. It's an either-or scenario.
We had a kitchen party this morning, guys.
Thanks
Basically,
for the invite.
You turned up late for work.
Thanks for the invite.
You're very, very welcome. Hey, baby, you're having a... Oh. This is what we're going to do. This is what the bosses want. The bosses want us to interact with people in what used to be described as a 360-degree format, i.e. we use Tinternet. So, hashtag kitchen party. Send us a pic on Twitter at BBC3CR of you having a kitchen party.
What you bringing?
Huh?
Well, you know, what you're having for your breakfast. What you bringing to the kitchen party.
What you bringing? All you need to do is take a picture of yourself in your kitchen having a kitchen party. Hashtag kitchen party at BBC3CR.
And because I wasn't invited, can I please come to yours?
Oh, for goodness sake. That sounds desperate. 08459 455 555. But more importantly, hashtag kitchen party.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties
Hashtag
Radio.
kitchen party. That's what the bosses want us to be more interactive with the listener, and they want us to do it on social media. I don't know why we can't say Twitter and Facebook.
Hashtag we're modern, innit?
Hashtag I've got really bad stomachache since I had a bad burger from a proprietary chain of restaurants owned by an insane clown.
Have you had the McBacklash yet?
I've just got the swollen, painful gut.
Oh, dear. Oh.
Yeah.
You sure it's that? It might be something else.
No, it's definitely that, because I remember I had, I won't say the name, but it was It was a double burger, a big double burger, big fries.
Big squeaky double burger.
Big squeaky double burger, big fries and a big McDonald's milkshake. And I wolfed them down. Well, I wolfed them down really quickly.
It's quite a combination of foodstuffs, isn't it?
And the thing is, about those milkshakes, guys, they're so... And I've had this before. I had this... and it happened to me yesterday 9 times, OK? They're so delicious. So delicious. You've got to slurp those bad boys down. But when I'm slurping them down, I get ice cream... I get ice cream headache. Brain freeze, OK? Mm-hmm. And then the brain freeze goes, and I forget, and it's so delicious, I've got to slurp it down again. So I get another brain freeze. I had 9 brain freezes.
I find it really hard to do the circular breathing required to suck that stuff up, because it's quite thick, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
The milkshake.
OK.
So, yeah, I almost pass out every time I have one of those.
Have you ever done it with loads of straws?
What?
You put a straw in another straw, in another straw, another straw.
Oh, long straw.
So you can drink it standing up.
Oh, so that's like shotgunning a can of lager. Yeah?
Apparently.
08459 455 555. Hashtag kitchen party.
How sweet it is to be loved by you. Yes, baby. Ooh, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Ooh, baby, I needed the shelter of someone's arms. And there you were. I needed someone to understand my ups and downs. And there you were. With sweet love and devotion, deeply touching my emotions. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. And wonder what would I be without you in my life. Everything was just a bore. All the things I did seems I've done them before. But you brighten up all my days with a love so sweet in so many ways. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. I wanna stop and thank you, baby. Like sugar to my soul. How sweet is
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call this morning. And don't forget to send your pictures of your kitchen parties to Twitter.
And we're going to get all the kitchen party hits lined up ready for the next hour of fun.
Well, but also we're going to play a Glenn Campbell song because we've got Mark Bago. The Glenn Campbell author is coming on.
We can do that for when we want the kitchen empty.
OK.
In terms of the kitchen songs, does it have to have the word kitchen in?
Well, we're only going to have 2 more songs, guys.
No.
We've played...
It's just party tunes.
We've played... Let me talk to the guest and we'll discuss this...
No, there's no discussion required. I've already got a plan.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Now, a Wolverton couple say they are struggling to cope now the local council started charging for their disabled son's respite care. Paul and Sarah Ridley's 25-year-old son Keith has severe autism and epilepsy, and up until recently they were given free breaks 1 day a week and 1 weekend a month. When Milton Keynes Council brought in charges, the Ridleys were led to believe they were exempt. But a bill landed on their doormat last week. Well, we'll speak to Paul Ridley in an hour. In the meantime, Tom Purser from Autism UK joins me on the line. Morning, Tom.
Good morning.
For those who don't know, explain how important respite care is for the person who's receiving it, but also for the family.
Well, respite care can be an absolute lifeline for families. What it actually means is it's the carers, which in this case is the young man's parents. They're full-time carers for him, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it gives them a break from their caring responsibilities from him. But it also means that the people actually receiving the respite care get a break, get to go somewhere different, get to do some other things, perhaps get to take part in some activities that can support them with their socialisation, because that's one thing that people with autism can struggle with, is actually being outside of the world, making friends and that sort of thing. So it really can be crucial in terms of ensuring that families can carry on caring for the people they care for over a longer period of time.
I would imagine in these times of austerity, as we're often told, that Milton Keynes isn't the only council that started charging for respite.
No, we have seen changes in charging schedules for social care across the country, and it is a sad indication of the times. But it's absolutely crucial that these are done in a fair way, and that people are only charged what they can afford to pay, that they still have enough money to actually live on as well at the same time, and also that any assessment done for any kind of care or charging that might take place is done by someone that has a really good understanding of autism, so that they know what they're actually assessing and can understand how the condition impacts the person and what sort of support they're going to need.
Tom, why should families get free respite care?
It's not a case of free respite care. In a lot of cases, families understand the need to be charged for. They understand the financial times we're living in, and we do as well. But the crucial thing is if you don't support carers to fulfil their caring responsibilities over the longer period of time, they're not going to be able to do it. It means that actually adults with autism may require far more costly inpatient care, longer-term residential stays, which can cost far, far more. So actually supporting carers to do their important job to look after people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to give them a small break to allow them to do that, can actually save money in the long run, because you're investing in these people doing what they need to do.
Well, there is the big argument, isn't there, that if all the carers of disabled and elderly people who were doing it for free packed it in, the country would go bankrupt, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. The impact on the economy would be absolutely sky high. But in this case, the couple here have said that they 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For them, it's what they devote their lives to doing, and it's just only fair and right that they are supported in doing that.
Age is a factor here, isn't it, Tom? Milton Keynes have brought in charges for adult care. Do you think the authorities need to look at that?
The whole issue around adult care is a really big one at the moment, because the government's actually changing the way that the care system works nationally, and there's a big issue about autism and how it's viewed within the changes to that system. Unfortunately, there isn't a very good understanding of autism, and there isn't always a very good recognition of how autism impacts on a person on a day-to-day basis. So the system's changing, but it's missing out some of those crucial bits about how autism impacts people around things like prompting. So a person with autism might be able to physically do certain activities like prepare a meal or wash themselves. They can physically do it, but without someone there actually prompting them and taking them through each step of that task, breaking it down and supporting them to do it, they're actually not going to do that. And we hear, sadly, lots of stories of people who don't get this support and are missing meals, not eating, not taking care of themselves. And so it's really important that both at a local and a national level there's proper consideration of how autism impacts on a person when you're looking at what care they need.
Tom, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you getting up at silly o'clock as well to speak to us. Tom Purser from Autism UK. As I said, we'll be speaking to Paul Ridley in about an hour's time. 08459 455 555. BBC Three Counties Radio, the home of the kitchen party.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Hockliffe, the A5 at the moment is closed between Leighton Road and Sheep Lane. Now, it's due to a serious accident that's happened there. At the moment, there is a diversion in place on the 4012 towards Woburn, Leighton Street, Sheep Lane, and then rejoining the A5. The M1 Luton Spur do expect delays between junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout and junction 10 for Luton Airport as those major roadworks continue there. Just taking a look so far at the M25, so far moving rather well, no major problems to report. And on public transport, the trains are running to time. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Nicola! 6:16. It's Thursday. Is it Thursday today? It is Thursday, isn't it? He said, looking at his team, who are blankly, completely ignoring him, and no doubt watching Good Morning This. Is it Thursday?
It's Thursday all day, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. The 17th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines. A Milton Keynes family says cuts in respite care is affecting their son. The Conservatives are drawing up plans to take some power away from the European Court of Human Rights. And vandals have scratched more than 20 cars in South Oxley in Hertfordshire.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday morning.
My show's called The JVS Show, 9 o'clock in the morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
I deal with the consumer problems that affect people all over Beds, Herts and Bucks.
And I said, well, I didn't come all this way to be looking at a broken down hotel.
Those companies, those councils, those organisations that are letting people down.
This guy turned around and said to me that they're not prepared to pay me, and I said, so you're forcing me to take action. And he said, good luck, and put the phone down on me.
I get my teeth into them.
Oh, Jonathan, I'll start crying soon. We don't know what to do.
Deal with them and hopefully get results for you, the consumers.
And it got so convoluted, I thought there's only one person who can sort this out.
The JVS Show on BBC Three Counties Radio. Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is Roberto Perrone.
What?
BBC
I genuinely wasn't
Three
expecting
Counties
that. Oh well. Might get our radios up a bit. What's going on, girls?
Kitchen party. What are you bringing?
I'm not bringing Black Lace Superman, which you've put in the queue.
No, we'll save that for later.
No, we're not playing that. Breathe out, Kelly. Breathe out, Kelly. There we go. Don't do that again.
Ring the bell.
Let's have a look on Twitter. Have you got Twitter open, Kelly? We're having a hashtag kitchen party. We're asking people to post their pictures of their kitchen party on Twitter.
So who's in the kitchen?
Who's in the kitchen at parties? Kelly, you have a little look there. Who have we got?
Let's have a look. So I click on the hashtag, yeah?
I'm going to hashtag kitchen party. Let's see.
This is so fun.
This is what the bosses wanted. This is what the bosses got. It's not exclusive.
So far, under kitchen party, let me just do a little search. We have our tweet, which says, earlier we had a kitchen party. Send pics of your kitchen party.
Hashtag.
Using the hashtag kitchen party with Iain Lee. Kitchen
okay,
party.
so that's ours.
Yep.
How many responses have we got to that?
So far, we've had our tweet.
Yep, and the response... No, we know that. The number of responses to that tweet. Kels, let's have it. Let's be Avenue. 999, let's be Avenue. That's where the police live.
I'm just going to refresh to just double check.
We haven't got any, have we?
I've got the latest.
You might have one.
Stats.
Have we?
Hang on. Let me go back and... press it. Get the old kitchen party stats.
Because this is what the bosses wanted.
Had a retweet.
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah, I've done that.
Oh, hang on. How are we spelling kitchen party? Because are you doing it all lowercase or one word?
It doesn't matter.
Well, it apparently does, because mine's not showing up.
Goodness sake. The sweets.
I didn't bother too much. Pop Millie, hard in the touch. Till she took him to the silver stream. She whispered words like he'd never heard that made him all shudder inside. But she said, wham, wham, bam, gonna make it my bam. Wham, bam, bam, gonna get you
to love the sweet, haven't you? That and Blockbuster.
There was a dance to that one, though. My aunties used to do in there.
You've just been miming it.
Yeah.
Fat Nolans, you said. Oh, did you not say that? I've just made up that not your aunts. Oh, God, I'm in terrible trouble here. Kath's doing the slitting the throat thing again. Not telling me to shut up.
What are you talking about? I said they were like the Nolans.
OK. And by the way, those listening on DAB would have just heard what you said. Because I heard it in my ears.
I mouthed to you?
Yeah. Yeah, because you mouthed it really loudly. You mouthed it with saying it. I totally heard. Let's move on so that none of us lose our jobs here. I'm going to try this. Dealey, are you there?
Yes, boss.
Hey, it worked.
I've got a sweet stat.
Go on, let's have a sweet stat. Are they local and vocal?
3 songs in a row that peaked at number 2.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
I forgot my names, but how unlucky is that?
Well, having 3 number 2 hits is quite lucky.
Well, not really, because you got kept off number 1, like a Nearly song, isn't it?
How many number 2s have you had?
None.
What, never?
Never.
You must feel bloated.
Yeah, I do. Went to the doctors.
Now... And by the way, thank you for your text. I really appreciate that information. I really appreciate that information. Kelly Betts?
We've had a tweet from, in regards to #kitchenparty.
Yeah.
It says, woo! And it's from 3C Arcade.
Oh, no, that's Catherine. That doesn't count. Now, this is a serious story, guys, so let's focus. Someone has been vandalising cars in South Oxley, and it's not the odd scratch or the drag of a key. This person is carving initials into the paintwork. Maybe a little bit of detective work from you today, dear listener, to see if we can piece together the clues. 24 cars have been damaged in the last few weeks, each of them marked JDR. It's not Justin Dealey Reports, is it?
No.
OK. Reporter Matt Lockwood went down to speak to residents in Blairhead Drive, where 3 cars have been damaged. Oh, for goodness sakes, that's Superman by Black Lace. You've muffed up my computer.
Mine has a little Corsa and this one. Well, not this one. A couple of brand new ones across the road. A little Golf down the road, and then so on round the corner, but I don't know about them.
So, I mean, if you were saying how many cars in the last, couple of weeks, a rough figure.
Yeah. 8, 9. It all happened one night. Yeah, one Sunday night. All happened. And we woke up in the morning and all our cars were done.
Do you think it was some kids messing about?
Yeah, children.
And is this an ongoing problem? I mean,
no, never had it before in my life. Been here 20 years, never had it. Never had it. No.
So you live on Blairhead Drive as well. Are you aware of cars getting vandalised round there?
Yeah, because all the neighbours have been out, all the ones that have had their cars scratched. And down Coverden as well, they've had them done.
And which cars have been targeted then?
Mainly the newer type, because I live around there and my one's older and mine hasn't been touched, and the girl next door, she's got an older model as well and hers hasn't been touched either. They think it's pretty senseless really, obviously, because obviously, like you say, they paid a lot of money for these cars and, they're just getting scratched like that and it's just like needless. It's sort of stupid.
Stupidity, isn't it? And we've heard of the email being sent around by Neighbourhood Watch, cars having the JDR initial on the side of it. I mean, any ideas who that could be? I mean, is it just a kid having a laugh?
Well, I don't know whether it's kind of some gang doing it or just a kid's initial, but if it is, it's a bit stupid, obviously you'd be giving it away, but whether it's some kind of gang or code for a gang, I don't know.
Well, Justin, you're there, aren't you?
I am, boss. I'm looking for answers this morning.
Where are these incidents... Oh, excuse me. I do apologise.
Kitchen party.
Kitchen parties, yes. Where have these incidents been happening, Justin?
Well, cars have been damaged on Ainsdale Road at the junction of Gosforth Lane, Ashridge Drive, Blairhead Drive and Colverden Road. Most of the vandalism has been what Hertfordshire police call deep scratches, but a few of these cars, as you heard there in that report, have been tagged with the initials JDR. That's why I'm here this morning. I'm trying to find out some facts. Who is JDR?
Well, do we know, is it a person? Is it a gang?
Well, not yet. It could be one person, it could be a group. Herts police say they believe the offender or offenders, they live locally and they could have bragged about what they've done. Certainly unusual. You've got an expert coming on later on talking about insurance. Does this affect your no claims? I would have thought it does, because...
Well, if you claim on it, it will, yeah.
Because to have a respray, that's going to cost a lot of money. So this morning, we're here, we're going to try and find out who JDR is and try and get some information really for the police as well.
Have you seen any evidence evidence of this car vandalism while you've been in South Oxy, Just?
Not at this particular moment in time, but the morning is young. I'm going to be here for the next hour or so, asking people about their cars and have they been vandalised. Certainly unusual.
Now, as I get older, vandalism I find it more and more annoying. You were telling me about some horrific vandalism at the end of your street that happened to you a few years ago.
Yeah. For some reason, somebody got some spray paint and on the fence at the bottom of my road was spraying things such as JD is gay. It was bizarre.
And what happened?
Well, it went, then it came back. Then all of a sudden, the group must have left the country or something and stopped doing what they were doing because it just disappeared. It just vanished and it never came back.
They left the country?
Must have them. Never saw it again. Or something happened to them, I don't know. It's taken me a long time, Ian, and I've never really got to the bottom of that one.
That must have been really upsetting for you, having to walk past that every day.
It wasn't upsetting. I mean, it's, as you know, I deal in fact and not fiction. And they were wrong. If they wanted to write that, it's fine, but they were wrong. It just seemed to be a bit pointless, really. And actually, at the weekend, I was driving to work. Obviously, some idiot on Friday evening in Hemel had a few too many beers on the way home, decided to smash up the local bus stop. What's going on where I live? Just kids these days.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Hotcliffe, the A5 at the moment is closed between Leighton Road and Sheep Lane. That's due to a serious accident that happened a little earlier on. At the moment, there is a diversion in place on the 4012 towards Woburn, also Leighton Street and Sheep Lane to enable you to join the A5 again. The M1 Luton Spur in patches looking a little bit slow between junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout and junction 10 for Luton Airport as those roadworks continue. Starting to look rather slow on the A1 heading southbound between Stirling Corner and Apex Corner. So far on the trains, no reported problems or delays. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30, I'm Jane Killick. A couple from Milton Keynes say the withdrawal of free respite care is having a damaging effect on their severely autistic son. They say they can't afford it after council cuts. More than 20 cars have been scratched in the Watford area in the last fortnight. More than 20 cars have been scratched in South Oxy, some with the initials JDR. A model of a giant heron in Watford's new pond will be replaced by a new art installation. There's been concerns it could be vandalised. The weather, fine, dry and very warm with some good sunny spells. On to sport, and India's Ravindra Jadeja has been charged by the International Cricket Council as the fallout from the clash with James Anderson continues. Anderson faces the prospect of a 4-test suspension if he's found guilty of abusing and pushing the all-rounder. Jonathan Agnew reports.
Alistair Cook says that this ongoing dispute won't affect relations between the teams, but that doesn't seem possible. No one from the England camp witnessed the incident as they left the field at Trent Bridge, and the only person to have done so appears to be the Indian captain MS Dhoni, who said yesterday that once a player touches the other, it crosses a line. Anderson denies the allegation, and England have responded by levelling a charge against Jadeja, although a lesser grade 2.
Golf's Open Championship starts today at Hollylake. Last year's winner, Phil Mickelson, will be hoping to retain the claret jug, whilst Tiger Woods will be making his first major appearance since back surgery. Luke Donald, originally from High Wycombe, has been discussing the Hollylake course.
It's a good, solid test. It does offer some opportunities. Obviously, a par 72 is unusual for an Open Championship. The par 5s give you some opportunities to make some birdies. A tough start. First and second are quite narrow. Then it widens out a little bit. A bit more rough than 2006.
In football, MK Dons won their final friendly on their tour of Ireland last night. The Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1 with goals from Kieran Wiltshire and Daniel Powell. In Matt Bloomfield's testimonial, Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. Jose Mourinho fielded a strong Chelsea team. Former Dons loanee Patrick Bamford scored one of the goals, as did defender John Terry. BBC News and Sport. The next bulletin is at 7.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I don't know what happened there. I pressed the button. You're in a very
I'm overtired,
annoying
I think.
mood.
Sorry.
You're in an annoying mood.
Can't help it.
I've got a terrible stomachache. Partly through eating bad food, partly through laughing at... I mean, I shouldn't laugh.
Well, it was a very serious allegation he was making there, but he deals in fact and not fiction, of course.
As you know, I deal in fact and not fiction.
We do know that, Justin, and I'm glad you've cleared that up.
You don't tell no lies about that.
No, well, luckily, the vandals that were making Justin's life a hell, a sexual hell, have left the country.
I like the suggestion it was a group working in some sort of coordinated attack.
Now, we're having a kitchen party celebration today. Yeah. Hashtag kitchen party at BBC3CR. Well, Callum has started a hashtag bathroom party.
Whoa. I don't want you all over the house.
No.
Put everything upstairs to try and make it look tidy down here.
I'm not digging that in the slightest. I think that's bang out of order. B-O-O-O.
They'll be in the box room under the coats next.
Boo. 08459 455 555. I'm going to take some pills that you've just given me, because I've got a headache.
Yes.
We'll play another kitchen party song.
Let's.
And then we'll come back and do the papers.
Is it Black Lace's Superman?
No, it is not.
I'm no good at chatting up and always get rebuffed. Enough to drive a man to drink, I don't do no washing up. I always leave the stuff piled up in the sink.
But you will always find him in the kitchen at parties.
Me and my girlfriend, we argued and she ran away from home. She must have found somebody new and now I'm all alone, living on my own. What am I supposed to do?
That's why you'll always find him in the kitchen at parties. You will always find him in the kitchen at parties. You will always find him in the kitchen at parties.
Then I met this debutante, I said I like you, a bra. She was into French cuisine, but ain't no cordon bleu. This was at some do in Palmer's Green. I had no luck with her.
You will still find him in the kitchen at parties. You will still find him in the kitchen at parties.
At last I met a pretty girl, she laughed and talked with me. We both walked out of the kitchen and danced in a new way.
As you know, I deal in fact and not fiction. As you know, I deal in fact and not fiction.
Boom, 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 boom.
No matter how excited I try to sound,
Done my time in the kitchen.
it's just my voice.
I've done my time in the kitchen at parties.
Jonah Louie.
His time in the kitchen at parties.
I like Jonah Louie.
He always does that voice, though, doesn't he?
That's his voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's good, Jonah Louie. If you know this song was used in an advert for IKEA. If you look very carefully,
he's in it.
He's in the advert. One of the lads walked past and goes, "All right, Jonah," and it's Jonah Louie.
It was Christmas time, wasn't it? That way.
Probably.
Yeah.
I've got stomachache and I've got a headache.
Okay.
Just be on standby.
Thanks for sharing.
Well, no, I'm saying be on standby to nip in at the last minute if I don't make it to the end of the show.
Oh, right, okay.
That's a genuine flagging up, because I've gone a little bit blind in my right eye.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, really. Fun times are ahead of all of us. What have you got in the papers?
There's this thing that's going to be the must-have toy for Christmas, apparently. I've seen them out and about for a while, but I don't know. It may not be the obvious choice for a child's Christmas wish list, but this cuddly monster that eats your worries is likely to be in high demand.
What?
It's called a Sorgenfresser Worry Eater.
Oh, dear.
It's like a little cuddly toy. It's quite flat. It's got a zip for a mouth.
Oh, dear.
And what you do is,
yes.
if you're having some problems,
Yep.
like your friend's not your best friend anymore, or you're worried that you've done that colouring in a bit wrong, or, you know, that sort of stuff
Yeah.
that kids worry about.
Life issues, yes.
You can write it down on a piece of paper, give it to the Worry Eater to eat, and it's gone. Or you can talk to your mum.
Or your dad.
And it might get sorted out.
Your dad.
Yeah, your dad, maybe.
So my boys...
You might say, ask your mum, though.
Well, your dad wouldn't. Kelly, my boys have got a new thing. I was telling you about this. I've got no idea where this comes from, OK?
I've got an idea.
So, it's not from me. So they both stood around me yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they start giggling. I thought, oh, here we go, something's going to happen, right? And they make the international sign of a bull, OK, where they put their two fingers up on their head and they lower their heads.
Yeah.
And then they go, do you want a willy race? Do you want a willy... And they're both doing it for ages and just in hysterics. Do you want a willy race? Like that. How are you supposed to respond to that?
You have a willy race.
You can't have a willy race
Well,
these days.
maybe if you do have one with them, then that'll be the end of it.
I don't know what the rules are. If I'm going to enter a race, I want a clear-cut definition of the rules.
Here's what I think. There are no rules.
Wowzers.
And if you challenge them, they'll make something up.
Maybe out-silly them.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't out-silly... You can't
Of course
out-silly...
you can. You should have done the sign for chicken,
Yeah.
which is your full hand on your head and you
Yeah.
wave it about.
Yeah.
And say something like, I would rather a bum race.
OK, that's the kind of stuff that gets social services involved in.
Yeah.
That's inappropriate. Is there anything else? The papers this
She's
morning?
kind of super nanny, isn't she?
Well,
Kelly Betts.
Yeah, kind of. The papers are a little bit rubbish today. There's absolutely nought in them at all.
Ryanair puts 2 Spanish-bound families on a flight to Latvia.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
2 families heading off on holiday to Spain ended up on a plane to Latvia after bungles by airport staff.
They didn't end up in Latvia. They ended up on the planes. Yeah, I know, because the story's a bit oh, no, they went to Latvia. Well, no, they didn't. And Ryanair's fault? Really? Surely it's the fault of the idiot families that got on the wrong aeroplanes. The aeroplanes are quite well signposted.
It does make you wonder about the checks, though. They look at your ticket, they pass you through, then you get sat down. Odd. So, yeah, there's that.
Oh, I wish Ellie Goulding would stop appearing in newspapers in shorts and a bra. Doesn't do anyone any favours. At all.
OK, that's not news, is it?
No, that's just... Did that come out loud?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, that came out of your mouth
That's a shame.
with words.
That's a shame. There's nothing in the papers at all. Nick Knowles, my nemesis. Hosting more than 120 shows a year is a lot of work. It's not really. But Nick Knowles would drop the lot for a crack at presenting Strictly. Oh, here we go.
Oh, no.
The DIY SOS frontman says it's the one show I have always said I would like to present. Oh, well, get over it. Get over it, Knowlesy.
Is that how you give your CV in these days, by saying, do you know what I'd really like to do?
Yeah, apparently so. It ain't happening.
What would you really like to do?
Me?
Yeah, say it. You might happen.
I'd really like to have a sleep.
Okay.
Is that an option?
Not now, but certainly after.
Okay. Anything else?
You can definitely do that.
There's not. This is absolutely. Luckily, we've got.
Angered
Luckily.
health and safety ban on kids' donkey rides at a fete.
Uh-oh.
Have you heard this one?
Yeah.
Fete this is in the Daily Express if you want to read along, page 21. Fete organisers have declared the law an ass.
I like it.
After bureaucrats banned children's donkey rides in a new health and safety madness uproar. There's a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just hours before an annual fete in Beighton, Sheffield, sorry, I thought it said Brighton, council pen pushers slapped a ban on the donkeys.
Blimey.
They insisted the animal's owner must be holding a riding school licence and that children had to wear safety helmets, to protect their delicate heads.
That sounds about right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Steve Edmonds, one of the Fates organisers, said, our donkey ride provider has been in the business for 30 years and he's never heard of it. It's just crazy. It's bureaucracy gone mad. We were told this kid was needed to ensure the kids had the right riding helmets. And so on.
I like the voice you were doing there.
It's a Sheffield voice.
Isn't it, Josh? Should we have a little bit of Beatles?
Yeah.
You say yes, I say no. You say stop, and I say go, go, go. Oh no, You say yes, I say no. You say stop, I say go, go, go. Oh no. You say goodbye and I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Hockliffe, the A5 at the moment is closed between Leighton Road and Sheep Lane due to an accident that's happened a little earlier on. At the moment, they are waiting for some recovery work to take place, so do expect it to be closed for most of the morning rush. At the moment, there is a diversion in place via the 4012 Leighton Street and Sheep Lane, so you can rejoin the A5. So far, the A1's looking rather slow, heading southbound between Stirling Corner and Apex Corner, and looking rather heavy moving at the moment on the M25, heading anti-clockwise between 26 at Waltham Abbey and 25 for Enfield. On the trains, there's no reported problems or delays. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, 6:46, it's Thursday the 17th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Milton Keynes couple says cuts in council care are having a damaging effect on their son. 20 cars have been scratched in South Oxley. And in last night's football friendlies, Milton Keynes Dons built Bray Wanderers 2-1 and Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. Right, let's get the weather. Here's Georgina.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello there, a very warm day today. A bit of mist and fog patches to start off with, but they should disperse fairly early on. And then we're left with a largely dry day, lots of sunshine, a little fair weather cloud around and light winds. Temperatures reaching 26 or 27 degrees Celsius. And tonight, quite a muggy night. There is a feature pushing northeastwards. We may just get the tail end of that, just a couple of very light showers. They may not even make it to the ground. But one thing we could see is some lightning actually in the early hours of the morning. But otherwise, a largely clear night with lows of 17 degrees Celsius, so very warm indeed. And tomorrow we have a heat health watch starting until Sunday. It's going to be humid, it's going to be hot after a muggy start. We've got a pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine for much of the day, and we're looking at temperatures reaching 31 degrees Celsius, so it could be enough to trigger a shower even. And there's an early yellow warning in place for Saturday. Friday night into Saturday we'll start to see these homegrown thunderstorms, so thunder, lightning, perhaps even some hail. It does calm down later on in the day, but we'll still see some thundery showers around probably on Sunday, and then it's looking much drier and less humid from Monday onwards. That's your latest forecast.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
I'm at Bletchley Park today for a very, very important special occasion. For me, being out of the studio is about putting faces to names and bringing to life all that's brilliant about Beds, Hearts and Bucks. If you know the high street here and you've never seen what goes on behind you really should, because it's like a whole new world.
Nick Coffer.
I think for my listeners, they get a chance to hear about places they may never have visited, in fact, they may never have heard of. And also, they hear the stories from the people that bring those places to life.
That is one of the mysteries of Abbots Langley Fire Brigade.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Hearts and Bucks on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Living in the city ain't never been my idea of getting it on.
job demands that you make new plans before your big chance is gone. You get a house in the hills, you're paying everyone's bills, and they tell you that you're gonna go far. But in the back of my mind, I hear it time after time. Is that who you really are? Country boy, you got your feet in LA, but your mind's on Tennessee. Looking back, I can remember the time when I sang my songs for free. Country boy, you got your feet in LA. Take a look at everything you own. But now and then my heart keeps going home. Talking on the telephone, setting up another day for people to meet. You gotta do what's right, you gotta spend the night staying in touch with the street. When you're surrounded by friends, they say the fun never ends, but I guess I'll never figure it out. 'Cause in the back of my mind, I hear it time after time. Is this what it's all about? Country boy, you got your feet in LA, but your mind's on Tennessee. Looking back, I can remember the time when I sang my songs for free. Country boy, you got your feet in LA. Take a look at everything you own. But now and then my heart keeps going home. Country boy, you got your feet in LA, but your mind's on Tennessee.
Oh man, you gotta love a bit of Glenn, haven't you? A bit of Glenn Campbell.
Remember a time when I sang my songs for free.
There's a new book out about Glenn Campbell called Life with My Father. It's by Debbie Campbell and by Mark Bago. And we've got Mark on the line. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm so pleased to talk to you. We tried to get hold of you a couple of weeks. We had the wrong phone number, so we didn't get to speak. But, yeah, I'm good. Whereabouts are you at this precise moment in time, Mark?
I am in Tucson, Arizona.
Man alive, I wish I were there. Never mind. Now, you've written this book with Debbie Campbell, one of Glenn's daughters. Why did you decide to write a Glenn Campbell book, Mark?
I met Debbie 3 years ago, and she started telling me her story about her being a child of divorce and how she fought to keep, stay in her dad's life actively, how she sang with him for 24 years, and how upset she was about his diagnosis of having Alzheimer's disease. And there's also a bit of a family feud going on as well. She's on her third stepmother, and she's not really pleased with the way everything's being done in her dad's life. So this is her way of telling a story about a daughter of divorce, her bond with her dad, his love of his music and her love of his music, and some of the family politics that are going on at the moment. It's really a fascinating story.
Well, Glenn Campbell's life is fascinating, you know, coming from poverty, becoming one of the sort of great... He's played on more records than we'll probably ever know. He was one of the hottest session men of the 60s, wasn't he?
Absolutely. He was part of the Wrecking Crew. And the Wrecking Crew did all the instrumentals on, like, Beach Boys albums, Mamas and Papas albums. They were on Viva Las Vegas with Elvis. They were on Frank Sinatra albums. So very often you would hear these, stars singing their songs, but behind them was all this great music, and Glenn Campbell was part of it. He was the guitarist for the Wrecking Crew.
And how did he become, like, a big star on his own? What was the breakthrough for him?
Well, he had recorded for several years in the early 60s and really never had a hit that took off. Well, then he had a couple of songs that charted, and he became a a popular guy in Hollywood, and he appeared on a television show called the Smothers Brothers Show. It was a comedy show that was on Sunday nights here in America. And when the show was suddenly canceled because the Smothers Brothers made some political statement that the network didn't like, they were like, what are we going to do with this time slot? How about Glenn Campbell? We'll put him in, give him his own show. And so was born the Glenn Campbell TV show here in America, which was a very popular variety show.
And Glenn, for a few years, Glenn Campbell had everything. He was having huge hits. He was a huge superstar. He was touring the world, and he sort of spiraled out of control, didn't he? And he got very into cocaine.
He did. He got in the fast lane. The TV show ended. Cocaine was very prevalent in the music business. He got involved in that. He also got involved in Tanya Tucker, the 21-year-old country singer.
That's a great way of phrasing it. He got involved in Tanya Tucker. Yes.
A little double entendre there. Yeah. So he was suddenly his clean country boy image was challenged by the tabloids. Here he is trashing hotel rooms, having drunken brawls with Tanya Tucker. So that kind of put, a little bit of tarnish on his image. But he got it back together, got off of the drugs, went on to Branson, Missouri, where there is a very famous town that has all these standing shows. It's kind of like Las Vegas without the gambling. And for years, he performed at the Glenn Campbell Theater there and was really kind of a family act. And that's when Debbie really got involved in her dad's act. She was his opening act. She did the duets with him that Bobby Gentry had recorded. And she was there for him for 24 years.
When did she kind of fall out with the family?
Well, it was in 2011, right after the Alzheimer's diagnosis. According to Debbie, her stepmother, Kim, really wanted her children in the spotlight and fired Debbie and fired Glenn's longtime band, who he really felt comfortable with, and made a clean sweep and put her 3 children in the act. And that's where the family rift sort of started. A lot of people don't realize that Glenn has started 4 different families. He has 1 child, Debbie, by his first wife, 3 with his second wife, 1 with his third wife, and 3 with his fourth wife. So now that it's going to be very confusing. Yeah. There's going to be a fight for the estate, I think, at some point. And does
Debbie have any contact with Glenn now? Because obviously he's very ill. I think he's been moved into a home, hasn't he? I don't know if it's a permanent move or if it's for respite. But does she have any contact with her dad?
She absolutely does. She goes and visits him as much as she can and is there every couple of weeks. So she's very much in his life actively. She's not really thrilled with the fact that he's in this Alzheimer's facility. She feels that maybe her stepmother prematurely admitted him into this program. So it'll be interesting to see. She, in fact, has gone to the press a couple times here to protest how her dad's being treated. She feels like she isn't seeing him getting the best care that he should. Mm. So she's very concerned.
And how do you think Glenn Campbell will be remembered? Because, I interviewed him about 3 years ago when he was about to do his farewell tour. I was surprised how big he is. He's tall, he's very broad, he's got these amazing sparkling blue eyes. Even though he was quite poorly then, he's got these amazing eyes. What do you think people will remember him most for, Mark?
I think his charm and his music, certainly that kind of good old boy image of his, really carried throughout his entire career. He was someone that I think people loved his music and would feel very comfortable having Glenn Campbell in their living room, whether it's on television, whether it's on the stereo, or whether it was in person. He just had that really genuine character to him, and still does, according to Debbie, that the sparkle is still in his eyes, although his memory's getting a little bad. He still has moments where he remembers the music and remembers a lot of the details of his career.
Well, good for him. The book is Life with My Father, Glenn Campbell. It's by Debbie Campbell and Mark Bago. Mark, I'm so glad we managed to get you on at last. I've been really looking forward to talking to you, so thank you very much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Mark, take care. I want to be in Tucson, Arizona. I want to be there right now. Don't you guys? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Don't forget, #kitchen party. It's still happening. How's it looking online? Well, a fella sent us a picture of his car stereo. That's not technically a kitchen party.
No, but
It's
something.
It's something.
We've had some kitchen party hashtag tweets in.
Yeah.
One is from Grant and Stone.
Yes.
We have a new kitchen and bathroom.
I think that's an advert.
Yeah, I just
I
realised.
think that's an advert.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Building up in patches on the Great North Road, approaching the Black Cat roundabout on the speed sensors this morning, and just getting in, the A5 has been reopened in both directions between Leighton Road and Sheep Lane. There was an accident there earlier, but now recovery work has taken place, so all reopened and easing off a little bit now. So far, taking a look at the trains, and everything seems to be running well. No reported problems or delays. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed that a lot. I'm going to get that book. I was hoping to get a freebie. That didn't happen. Never mind. We're just looking at the internet. Yes, I'm going to order that book now, I think. Right, let's get the news.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Jane Killick. The headlines. Parents claim a cut in care in Milton Keynes is affecting their son. Vehicles vandalised in South Hertfordshire, and Watford's Heron is to be replaced.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A couple from Milton Keynes say the withdrawal of free respite care is having a damaging effect on their severely autistic son. Paul and Sarah Ridley from Wolverton say they can't afford to pay for the care they used to have. Tom Purser from Autism UK says everyone understands times are tough for councils, but authorities should look at the bigger picture.
If you don't support carers to fulfil their caring responsibilities over the longer period of time, they're not going to be able to do it. It means that actually adults with autism may require far more costly inpatient care, longer-term residential stays, which can cost far, far more.
Police are appealing for information after a number of vehicles were vandalised in the Watford area. Over the last 2 weeks, more than 20 cars have been scratched in South Oxley, some with the initials JDR. Penny Batterson is a resident of Blairhead Drive, where several cars have been damaged.
It all happened one night. Yeah, one Sunday night. All happened. And we woke up in the morning and all our cars were done. Been here 20 years, never had it. Never had it. No.
Bedfordshire police say no one was injured when a coach crashed into a tree this morning on the A5. It closed the road earlier between Hotcliffe and Heatham Reach while they waited for a recovery team. That road has now been reopened. The only person on board the coach was the driver. The Conservatives are drawing up plans for a new law to limit the power of the European Court of Human Rights in the UK. It seeks to reassert the sovereignty of Parliament at Westminster. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a United Nations request for a temporary ceasefire today to allow people in Gaza to stock up on supplies. The 5-hour truce will come into force at 10 o'clock this morning, local time. Christopher Gunnis is the spokesman for the UN agency that helps Palestinian refugees.
We would welcome the guns falling silent, and we would hope that it would lead to something more permanent. We hope that it would lead to a situation where some of the underlying causes of this conflict can be addressed, such as the blockade of Gaza. And of course, from the Israeli point of view, there are many other issues they would want to see addressed.
The Liberal Democrats are calling for an immediate overhaul of the coalition's housing benefit reform, known to critics as the bedroom tax. Writing in the Daily Mirror, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Danny Alexander, says the policy isn't working. A model of a giant heron in Watford's new pond is to be culled to make way for a new art installation in September. It comes after concerns were raised on this programme that it could be vandalised by drunken yobs. Alan Goff is from Watford Borough Council.
Perhaps it's suffering, unfortunately, from people doing what they shouldn't do.
Riding the heron.
It will be a surprise every few months, and we look to unveil it and make a thing of it.
In last night's football, MK Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1, and in Matt Bloomfield's testimonial, Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. The weather, a fine and settled day with light winds and some good sunny spells with a high of 26 Celsius. And get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Absolutely picturesque, beautiful bridge to drive over.
It's all about where you live.
Nice quiet village just on the outskirts of Bedford Town Centre.
And all this week we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
It's always been a lovely village, local, and quiet.
It actually has everything anyone could want in a village.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
As you know, I deal in facts and not fiction.
I was just wondering how a village could be anything other than local.
Well, if it's at the other side of the county from you, it's not local, is it?
I suppose so. And we're living in the international village now, aren't we? Isn't that a phrase? Is that a phrase?
Well, it can be.
Okay, it is now. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots to talk about this morning, including respite row, a scratching scandal, and at last, the Pond Life feature with Matt Lockwood comes to an end. I've seen the pond, dear listener. I've seen the pond. My judgment has been made. If you want to get in touch, 08459 455 555, and don't forget to go on Twitter at BBC3CR and post pictures of your hashtag kitchen party. Really has caught the imagination of you this morning, and that's great.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
The family of an autistic man from Milton Keynes fear they'll struggle to cope now the local council is charging them for respite care. Until this month, Paul and Sarah Ridley have had free help with their 25-year-old son, Keith, who suffers from severe autism and epilepsy. But Milton Keynes Council says it can no longer afford to pay for adult respite. Paul Ridley joins me now. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Ian.
Paul, tell me a little bit about Keith.
He's 25. He was born with severe autism, which he didn't get diagnosed with officially until he was 16. He has no speech, no sense of danger. Toileting skills he hasn't got, and he needs 24/7 care. He has a strict routine like most people with autism do have, and he's got loads of energy, trust me.
Yeah. Oh, I bet he's a 25-year-old lad, isn't he?
Yes. I used to work, but I had to give it up when the wife when Sarah slipped a disc. And at 16 he developed epilepsy, and obviously lifting someone who's now bigger than her is a bit of a problem, especially if he's during a seizure and you're trying to get him into a comfortable recovery position, for example. And he also has irritable bowel syndrome on top, which doesn't help.
Oh dear, he's having a tough old time, isn't he? What does yours and Sarah's kind of daily routine involve?
Well, if you want to class as daily, he can be awake through the night several times. And in fact, if you don't hear him, he can come down and raid all the food cupboards. He is absolutely driven by food.
Yeah.
We have to take the food out the freezers, for example, and put them in freezer bags and put them in a cold place overnight, otherwise he'll go in there and eat it raw. We have to be constant because he can be up and down the stairs all day. The doors have to be locked, otherwise he can go out. For example, we have the green recycling bins here for food, and if you don't lock the doors, he will go out and he'll want to scavenge in there for food. And don't get me wrong, we do feed him 3 full meals a day on top of crisps, which he would absolutely love. Crisps, they're a great bribery tool in sort of like doing things like cutting his hair or getting him to sit still for a photo. When you're in the kitchen cooking food, you have to be in there all the time. You can't answer the door or the phone because he'll go and open the oven, put his hands straight in, or put his hands in the pots on the stove. He has no pain threshold at all, and it is 24/7. You don't really have a break unless he has an afternoon nap or anything like that.
How important is his respite care for you?
It's majorly important because I do have another daughter who's 22, 23 this year, and she's got Asperger's, which is at the other end of the spectrum. So at the weekend, when they go in for a weekend break, for example, it's a chance for us to spend time with her and give her more time for her disability and do things that a normal family without any children or young adults with disabilities can do, like go to the park or go for a walk and etc. and spend quality family time together. It also gives us time to do things like decorating, because we can't do anything like glossing or any DIY jobs that cannot be done while Keith is around.
The respite
it gives us a great big recharge, if you know what I mean.
No, of course. The respite was on police advice. What led to that, Paul?
Yes, where we used to live, the gentleman next door bought a house and turned it into a house in multiple occupation. And after several attempts of getting onto environmental health, because we had people playing music all night, there was motorbikes being revved up inside the house.
Oh dear.
It was even raided because they were by the police, because they were mixing materials for explosives. And the occupants of the house were also taking the mickey out of my son when he was in the actual garden with us.
Yeah.
And the stress was, it got to us, I had a heart attack. My wife passed out a couple of times while we were out. My daughter had a little part-time Saturday job at the time and was falling asleep at work. And we kept calling the police because no one was listening to us, and the police came around and seen that we were just on breaking point. And the PCSO, Maureen, was really good, and that's why she contacted social services. And then a few weeks later, the council did get more involved and decided to move us. And just to add, they also moved the neighbours the other side of the house.
Right.
So it wasn't just us.
Were you warned that the charges for respite care were going to be introduced?
All we received the general letter in April saying that there will be charges for respite and that some people might be charged and some won't. We also received the same letter again about 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that charges will be starting in July, and again that some people will and some people won't, but there has never been any charges put down or any costs saying it will cost you this amount or that amount. So we had no idea if indeed we were being charged, and if so, how much.
And then a bill comes through the door?
Yes, because he had his normal weekend care on the first weekend of July, because he gets one weekend a month and then one day every week, which is a Monday. And he went in for his normal weekend, which is Friday to Tuesday morning. And then we had a letter come to us saying we were being charged for that weekend after the fact. So we had no choice to say, like, this is the amount you're going to be charged. And we couldn't make the choice for saying, well, no, we can't afford that. That was taken away from us. I mean, in any walk of life, if you go to buy anything or any service, or if you ring up the council and want to hire a garage, they will tell you the amount before. And I since found out yesterday, because they were saying they couldn't do that because it don't register on their system, because when he goes into respite, they have to put the day he comes in and the day he comes out, and then it comes up in their system and they can do the bill.
So what happens next, Paul? Can you afford
to be honest,
for this respite?
We can't really afford it, but we're willing to pay, and if it works out that it's something affordable, the prices that they're charging us at the moment, no. Then we'll just have to work something out to make sure, because it's not us that's being charged. That's the weird thing about it. The respite is for the carers, but it's my son that's actually being charged. They want to take the money out of his incapacity benefit, or which is now ESA. And I spoke to DWP yesterday, and DWP, Job Centre Plus, said that ESA money is not supposed to be spent for something that's for us. So, I mean, I spoke to the respite care on the Saturday when we got the bill, because we had to worry about this all weekend. So it's stressful enough being a carer without this on top. And they had several other parents and carers phone up that were in the same boat. So, I mean, I just want to get the message out there to them that do the same as we've done. Contact your local MP, contact your local councillor, and push this, because our figures are all wrong. They never did an assessment on us at all. So if our figures are wrong, their figures could be wrong.
Paul, listen, it sounds like you're doing a cracking job. I wish you the best of luck with it, and, I hope this gets sorted out.
We do as well, because we need it. Without respite, I don't know what will happen to this family at all. How long we can go for is another matter, because we can't send them in because we don't know how much we're going to be charged, and that is the worrying thing. I say we're not against paying. If it's the law and we've got to pay, yeah, we'll pay, but make it something that's in the real world and is affordable. Don't punish vulnerable adults like my son and the disabled who are already struggling to survive like we are.
Paul, keep in touch. Let us know how things go. Catherine, we've been sent a statement, haven't we, by Milton Keynes Council?
We invited the council on the show this morning. They declined, but this is what they're telling us. Following extensive consultation with service users and carers, Milton Keynes Council agreed to charge for residential respite stays for adults with a learning disability. We already charged people with a physical disability and older people for respite, so it was fair to do the same for people with a learning disability. This was introduced on July the 1st, and we have written to every service user affected, as well as having information sessions. Charging for respite is means tested, which means that nobody will be charged more than they can afford.
Well, there you go. 08459 455 555 if you want to have your say on that.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Queuing at the moment on the Great North Road, heading southbound to the Black Cat roundabout, and the A1M now building up between Junction 8 and Junction 7 for Stevenage. Taking a look so far at the M1 London bound, looking rather slow moving at the moment between Junction 6 at Bricket Wood and Junction 5 for Watford. There's a broken down car there causing delays. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, rather slow moving between Junction 22 for St Albans and Junction 19 at Watford. And so far the A1, that's looking rather heavy, heading southbound between Stirling Corner and Apex Corner. Taking a look so far at the trains and disruption on East Coast trains between Stevenage and King's Cross. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 7:16. It's Thursday the 17th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Milton Keynes family says cuts in respite care is affecting their son. The Conservatives are drawing up plans to take some powers away from the European Court of Human Rights, and vandals have scratched more than 20 cars in South Oxley in Hertfordshire.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday morning from 9.
Good morning, welcome to the JVS show.
Your local stories.
Have you had to rebuild your life after being a victim of crime? Do you think it's inhumane to keep people in prison for life? Do you think that immigration needs to stop?
Your local life.
Why do 70% of this country feel immigration is wrong?
We've actually got an open doors policy.
I am just so angry listening to some of them people.
What the government are doing, they'll start introducing American-type sentencing, like 200 years in prison.
The JVS show.
British people are not xenophobic.
Weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's Dave Luton.
Good morning, boss.
Good morning, sweetness.
Oh, lovely.
Hey,
yeah.
hey.
More, yeah.
Oh.
You must be on good terms today, eh?
It must be on good terms today,
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know who's done it, but...
it was the butler.
Oh, is it the butler? I'll have to get one.
Yeah, you should. They're good. It's the butler what done it.
OK.
Anyway, enough flirting. Let's get down to facts.
Yeah. I've just been listening to that man's terrible story regarding his 25-year-old autism and epilepsy son, right, about these cuts.
Yeah.
Last week, I read in a paper that the government are to increase foreign aid of £250 billion to other countries. So why are we giving other countries, and you've got cuts on special needs of special people? Why can't we forget the foreign aid and give it to the people of this country?
Well, foreign aid, the theory behind foreign aid is a good one in that we help people who are significantly less fortunate than us. Now, I realise that sounds
sorry, that's tough.
Paradox.
That's tough for the other country. We want the money. We want the money
you don't
here.
You don't want to help starving children?
No.
No?
No, they're tough.
You don't want to help starving children?
The other countries have got to sort their countries out and start giving... They're looking after their own people, we've got to in this country.
There's a figure, and I will get this. We're either the 6th richest country in the world or the 6th biggest economy in the world. There is a difference. And if we can't help... furnish schools in countries where they don't have free and regular access to education and books. If we can't help people less fortunate than us around the world, Dave, that's a bad indictment on us, isn't it?
No, but you've just heard that man give the story. This is just one man regarding his 25-year-old son. What about all these other stories that you've not got? We're not being told, we're not reading of these other people in this country that's struggling because of the government cuts. All the government cuts is to people in this country like autism, epilepsy fits, and other people. Yet we go and give £250 billion to other countries that... Well, corruption in those governments, they're having a good old pocket, aren't they? As soon as they get that money. I don't agree with all this £250 billion we send foreign aid.
OK. You'd rather it was... I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, though. I think... I don't see why we would have to stop the foreign aid to still help people in this country.
Well, it's proved it, isn't it, by this man this morning? If we didn't give the £250 billion to other countries, that man wouldn't be on this radio this morning.
Well, I think he still would, Dave. Even if we didn't give that money, I think he would still be in that situation.
No, he wouldn't. No way on this earth. They're stopping all these cuts. Oh, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. The councils. Oh, then the government comes along and says, we're increasing foreign aid by £250 billion. What? I bet that gets everyone's bones up and blood up.
I hope it doesn't get anyone's bones up, Dave, but thank you very much. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call on that. Now, who or what is JDR? Any ideas? It's the question the people of South Oxley want an answer to. Over the last few weeks, nearly 24 cars have been vandalised. Many have had the initials JDR carved into the paintwork. Hertfordshire Police want it stopped, and the owners are wondering who's going to pay for it. Well, John Guy is an insurance journalist. He might be able to shed some light on this. Ever heard anything like this before, John?
Not really, no. It seems like a new one to me.
Is there anything the victims can do? Where would you go if someone had scratched an initial into your car?
Well, actually, it's quite interesting because obviously it's really going to depend on what car insurance they've got. Because, of course, if they've got the legal minimum, which is third-party fire and theft, then they're going to have to pay for it themselves because all that covers is the damage to another car if you hit it, obviously the car's stolen, or obviously if it's damaged by fire. The interesting thing then again, of course, is if you've got a comprehensive cover, you're also going to have an excess. So therefore, the insurer may well turn around and say to you, well, you've got to pay the first 100, 150 or £200. So depending on how high your excess is, once you get to the body repair shop, they may well turn around and say, well, it will cost you £100, £150, and therefore you'll have to pay the first 150. The third downer, unfortunately, for when you're coming to the insurance is if you make a claim against your insurance, of course you lose your no-claim bonus. So therefore, if you do make a claim, when it comes to renew next year, you will have a claim on your record, and therefore your car insurance will go up. So it is, with the great respect in this particular case, there's not much cheer from the insurance industry really for these poor victims.
Yeah, it is one of those things. You come out, you see it, and you get frustrated. And I guess I've had a similar ding in my car, and it just wasn't worth going through the insurance because I would have, I would have paid the excess, and my premium would have gone up massively. So I kind of had to suck it and see, really.
Yeah, sadly, I mean, the only hopeful thing is that they're going to catch the person or persons who has caused this damage, and it may well be that there might be, once they're put through the legal system, you may get some small piece of compensation. But I mean, really, from the insurance point of view, yes, check your policy, but in a way, depending on just how big these scratches are and depending on how much the damage is, it may well be that it's going to come out of your pocket.
Hey, John, here's a question from left field, right? Because I do a little bit of TV work and I'm on the radio, my insurance costs an absolute flipping fortune. Why is that? Do they think I'm going to be driving Paul McCartney round and having drugs parties or something?
Absolutely, I'm in the same boat. The moment you say the word journalist, they think that we're going to be having Madonna in the back of the car, or we're going to be chasing ambulances into riot zones.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's very, unfortunately, yeah, they rate it for our perceived risk. Unfortunately, when it comes to journalists, they lump us all in together.
It's that terrible thing when you go online, and do indulge me for a second, dear listener, with my high-class problems. When you go online to get quotes, and you fill in all the details, and a red sign flashes up saying, "We cannot help you online, call this number," and you know you're in for a big bill.
Yeah, I don't want to make an advert, but there is one particular insurance company that are very good for journalists, because they also look at a lot of the high class the footballers and some of the big cars, and that's the Co-op. So have a chat with the Co-op, because they are quite journalists.
John, I will have a little look at that. John, I appreciate your time. John Guy, an insurance journalist. It's a high-class problem, but you mentioned you work in radio or telly. Ding, 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 ding.
Or papers. My dad was a newspaper journalist, and they think
weird.
they're all massive boozers, I think.
Yeah, well, they think they obviously assume I'm going to be driving Burt Reynolds round to go and buy some crack cocaine or something, because that's what celebrities do.
I think you're the most famous person who's ever sat in my car.
I did. Did I sit in your car?
Yeah, you moaned about my driving.
Oh, your driving
made me very nervous.
Awful. Oh, she's an awful. Am I saying that out loud?
Yes.
Is your fader still up?
Yes.
No. She's an awful drivist, Justin. Justin? Justin's gone. I think Justin's still worrying about this graffiti campaign against him. Justin.
Hello, boss.
Good morning, Justin.
I'm here.
You've been in South Oxley this morning.
I have indeed.
What have people been telling you?
Well, these cars have been damaged on, Ainsdale Road at the junction of Gosforth Lane, Ashridge Drive, Birkenhead Drive, Colverton Road. Lots of these cars have been damaged. Nobody seems to know who JDR is, whether it's somebody or a group. I've been talking to Rodney Smith. He's part of the local neighbourhood watch team. Here's what he had to say. Well, Rodney, working for the neighbourhood watch team in this area, you must be very concerned about what's been going on here.
We are getting updates from the police all the time, yes, it's very unusual for this area. We're normally quite law-abiding.
And JDR, these initials, any ideas on who that could be? Is that a person? Is that a group? What do you think?
It's certainly new to the area. I've never heard of this person or group before, and I can only assume that they're new to the area and marking their territory.
And in terms of keeping cars safe locally, working for the Neighbourhood Watch, what are you doing to keep people's property safe in this area?
Well, we're advising parking off road if possible, and just generally keeping an eye out for anyone who's not from the general area.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Hopefully this will stop quickly. Thanks, Rodney. Take care.
Thank you very much indeed, sir.
So that was Rodney Smith. Certainly concerned, certainly unusual, according to that insurance expert as well. Somebody said to me once, actually, Ian, when I was trying to get car insurance, that I told them what I did, I was honest with them, and they said, well, you might have Elton John in your car. And I said, what? Just because I present a music programme, why is Elton John going to be in my car? I've never interviewed him. I would love to get him on my show. He's certainly not going to be in my car.
No. For those who missed the earlier report on this, Justin, you yourself have been the victim of a graffiti vandalism campaign of hate, haven't you?
Absolutely. I mean, thankfully it wasn't on my vehicle, because that would cost a lot of money to repair. This was on the fence at the bottom of my road, going back a few years ago. Somebody decided to graffiti my initials, JD.
That's correct,
yes. And then they put, is gay, which I found quite bizarre. It went away. Then it came back again, then thankfully it stopped. So again, I can only presume that person, that group, maybe they left the country or they got their facts straight. I'm not quite sure.
Do you think they'd not been checking their facts?
Yes, quite possibly, because it was wrong what they were saying. If they want to say that, that's fine, but, don't go and graffiti the fence at the bottom of my road, making allegations like that if it's not true.
What makes you think it was a gang?
I just had a sneaky feeling at the time.
Any ideas? Obviously no names. Any ideas who you think it may be?
Not really. I've never really got to the bottom of it. I'm presuming it was a local gang who realised that I was working on the radio at the time and took it upon themselves to do some graffiti at the bottom of my road. I mean, there could have been another JD living down my street, but to my knowledge there wasn't. I think it was a gang, and I think they've, as I mentioned, either got their facts straight or they've moved on. Maybe they've left the country.
Well, Justin, I'm sorry about that. That does sound like an horrific experience for you to have been involved in, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
As you know, I deal in facts and not fiction.
That's why you work here.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Queuing at the moment on the Great North Road, approaching those roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout. Taking a look at the speed sensors and looking slow on the M25, heading anti-clockwise between junction 22 at St Albans and also junction 19 for Watford. Also heading anti-clockwise, rather slow between junction 17 at Maple Cross and junction 15, the M4. It's queuing at the moment on the North Orbital Road, just off the M25. And at the moment, the A1's looking rather slow, heading southbound between Stirling Corner and Apex Corner. And on the trains, there's disruption on East Coast trains between Stevenage and King's Cross due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nicola, thank you. I'm going to utter some words I don't think I've ever said in this combination before. Can we get Dave Luton back on the show?
What?
Can we get Dave Luton back on the show? In my befuddled state, I allowed him to get away talking complete and utter guff. Luckily, political reporter Paul Scoins was listening in. He has sent me some facts. I'd like to throw the facts in the face of Dave Luton. Can we get Dave Luton back on the show?
Let's see if he'll receive those facts.
Thank you very much.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30, I'm Jane Killick. A couple from Milton Keynes say the withdrawal of free respite care is having a damaging effect on their severely autistic son. They say they can't afford to pay after council cuts. The Conservatives are drawing up plans to limit the power of the European Court of Human Rights in the UK. The move seeks to reassert the sovereignty of Parliament at Westminster. More than 20 cars have been scratched in the Watford area. They were vandalised in South Oxley, some with the initials JDR. The weather, fine, dry and very warm, with some good sunny spells. On to sport and in cricket. The second test between England and India begins at Lord's this morning, but the build-up continues to be dominated by the alleged incident between James Anderson and Ravindra Jadeja at Trent Bridge last week. Jadeja has now been officially charged by the International Cricket Council and could face a potential one-test ban, while Anderson could be suspended for 4 tests if found guilty of allegedly abusing and pushing the all-rounder. Meanwhile, the England captain Alistair Cook says after criticism of the flat pitch in the drawn match at Trent Bridge, he's hoping the Lord's wicket will offer more assistance for the bowlers.
It's got a nice covering of grass on, but again, we're 24 hours out from the Sri Lanka game. It looked very similar, so that turned out to be a pretty flat wicket. Hoping for a pitch which just has a bit more bounce, so it's a bit more. It's a bit more can have a bit more exciting cricket than what Trent Bridge produced.
Golf's Open Championship starts today at Holly Lake. Last year's winner, Phil Mickelson, will be hoping to retain the Claret Jug. Tiger Woods will be making his first major appearance since back surgery. Luke Donald, originally from High Wycombe, has been discussing the Holly Lake course.
It's a good, solid test. It does offer some opportunities. Obviously, a par 72 is unusual for an Open Championship. The par 5s give you some opportunities to make some birdies. A tough start. First and second are quite narrow. Then it widens out a little bit. A bit more rough than 2006.
In football, MK Dons won their final friendly on their tour of Ireland last night. The Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1 with goals from Kieran Wiltshire and Daniel Powell. In Matt Bloomfield's testimonial, Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. Jose Mourinho fielded a strong Chelsea team. Former Dons loanee Patrick Bamford scored one of the goals, as did defender John Terry. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next bulletin is at 8.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, Matt Lockwood has joined me in the studio to...
Good morning, everyone.
Sorry?
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, you, Iain. Good morning.
Matt has been in the last 3 weeks on a Thursday to talk about pond life, to talk about the Watford pond. We'll get there in a second.
No, it's fine. I'm just readjusting the studio for me because there's papers all over the place.
OK.
Right, so you just carry on and I'll just...
OK, well, I'm going to speak to Dave Luton. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, sweetie pie.
Now, Dave.
Yes.
I've got a really bad headache.
Oh, not something else. You've either got a stomachache, now a bad ache, or it's a throat problem.
I've got both. I've got a headache and I'm feeling nauseous, right?
Yeah, go on,
So I let you come on the radio earlier on and talk, well, basically balls.
No, it wasn't.
How much money is the UK giving in foreign aid?
It was going to be increased this year. On the front of your favourite newspaper, about 3 weeks ago, the Daily Express, that Cameron said we're going to increase it to £250 billion a year foreign aid.
Okay. Do you want to rethink that?
No, I'm going by what a paper says.
You're going for £250 billion a year foreign aid.
That's right.
If it was significantly less, if it was 50% of that...
I still don't agree with the foreign aid going to other countries.
OK. If it was 10% of that, would that be better?
No.
No. If it was, like, 4.5% of that, would it be better?
No.
No? Because it's nothing like £250 billion, you complete and utter muppet.
No, hold on. Excuse me. Can you get the editor of the Daily Express and call him a muppet, please? Because I'd like to see your name right across the headlines of a national newspaper.
Why would they put my name across the headlines of a national newspaper?
Because the Daily Express. Because they're the ones that printed it, and I'm reading it.
Catherine, while I'm talking to this plum, could you just try and Google see if you can find the story that he's talking about, the front page of the Daily Express, saying that...
How did it go again?
Foreign aid, £250 billion a year. Daily Express. She's going to research that because political reporter Paul Scoins has been in touch.
Okay.
And Paul Scoins, like Justin Dealey, deals in fact, not fiction, right?
All right.
So, the UK in 2013. You ready for this?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
In 2013, the UK spent how much? Have a guess how much we spent on foreign aid?
I don't know. You tell me.
11.4 billion.
Okay.
That's nowhere near 250 billion.
I've got something here from the Daily Express saying we're going to give $1 billion.
No.
That's from the Daily Express, is it? That's the paper that Matt said. That
UK to give $1 billion in foreign aid to help fight AIDS, TB and malaria.
OK, right. So, thank you, Catherine. Excellent. So, Dave.
Yes?
We've gone down from 250 billion to 11 billion.
OK.
Yeah. And it's fighting... What was it fighting again, Catherine?
TB, malaria and AIDS.
Wow. So it's saving lives.
Hold on.
Saving lives.
We want to save lives in this country.
And we are saving lives in this country.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
Are they?
What do you think hospitals do every single day?
There's kids starving in this country. Kids in this country have never had a holiday.
No. I didn't have a holiday until I was 7. I'm not buying that. If you can't afford a holiday, tough.
Well, that's exactly the same as going abroad.
It's not the same. Giving foreign aid to fight AIDS is not the same as some kid that can't afford a holiday. It's completely different.
It's not all this aid is going to other countries to fight malaria or HIV.
I'm not going to give aid to families who can't afford a holiday. Tough.
Well, some kids in this country are starving. Is that tough?
Well, they're not starving to death. They're not starving to death. Paul continues. The UK spent £11.4 billion on aid in 2013. It's about £180 per person. And that £11.4 billion is, guess what percentage of our GNI? Guess what percentage that is?
Go on, tell me.
Have a guess.
Oh, no, you tell me.
Have a guess.
No, I haven't got a clue.
35%?
I don't know. You're telling me.
25%?
You're telling me.
Higher or lower than 25%?
Well, it might be lower, is it?
Higher or lower than 15%?
Lower, is it?
Higher or lower than 10%?
I don't know. You tell me.
Higher or lower than 1%?
Wait, really? It must be higher than 1%.
Incorrect. It's 0.7%.
Oh.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Oh.
Now, Dave.
Oh. Yes.
Would you like to apologise to myself, to the listener, to Matt Lockwood, for spreading mistruth? I'm not going to say lies. Spreading mistruths.
Well, I'll try and look at... I'll tell you what, I did save that piece of paper, and I'm going to try and look it up, and I'll produce it to you.
Find that bit of paper.
I will do.
While you're on the line, Dave.
Yes.
Could you do me a favour?
What's that?
Repeat the words I'm about to say. This is the podcast. Welcome.
This is the podcast. Welcome.
Not prodcard, podcast.
Podcast. Welcome.
This is the podcast. Welcome.
This is the podcast. Welcome.
Here's this bit.
Here's this bit.
This happened.
This happened.
And Dave from Luton made himself sound like a muppet.
No.
Say it. Say it.
No.
Say it.
I won't. No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it. Say it.
No.
Say it.
No, I'm not
Say
a muppet.
It. Say
no.
it. Say it.
What's that record you usually play when one's talking?
Don't say it, Dave. Don't say it.
Don't you keep out of this, Lockwood. Say it.
Who's that there?
Oh, go away. Right, now, the other voice you heard there is Matt Lockwood, who's been coming in week after week after week after week after week to tell us, well, to whinge about Watford's new pond.
Yeah, just read the script, play the audio.
Oh, someone's got a cob on. All right, I'll read the script. For the last 4 weeks, our reporter, that word should be dropped, Matt Lockwood, has been banging on about the state of Watford's new pond. Put simply, he doesn't like it, do you?
No, I don't like it, no.
To settle this, you're not as gobby as you were the last few weeks. To settle this once and for all, I decided to meet Matt by Watford Pond. This is what happened.
Hello, Iain Lee.
Matt Lockwood, I'm slightly disgruntled that I've been forced out of the studio to come and meet you in Watford. Not because I'm in Watford, I like Watford, but to come and look at the pond that you've been banging on about for the last few weeks.
It's horrible, isn't it?
No, it's not. Tell me what bits you don't like about it.
You've seen this pond now. Several weeks after its opening, the councillor took on board my criticism of the water that turned green. He sorted out the filtration system, they're standing there in the corner. So that's been sorted. The fountains have been switched on.
So the first thing was, you didn't like the colour of the water.
Yeah.
It's a little bit green, that looks all right. It
looks very green there to start off with.
The fountains are fantastic. My kids love a fountain. Beautiful. I see they've got ducks.
These ducks have been brought here today, I'm sure they have. Come in, councillors.
We've got councillors with us.
Right,
No, sorry, we're not councillors.
Oh.
I'm Alan Goff from Watford Borough Council.
Lovely.
Have these ducks been brought in today for my benefit?
No, the ducks are natural wild creatures. They've chosen to come here.
You can't bring ducks in. If you brought a duck in and didn't want to be here, it'll go. They can fly, those things.
Well, I've been down here, last week, the week before. I didn't see the ducks.
The ducks have clearly decided this is a great place to set up home. We're really pleased to have the ducks here.
OK, I like it. I think it looks great. I think it's a nice area. I can imagine myself coming and having a cup of coffee, a sandwich, meeting some friends for lunch. The heron does look a little bit tired. It could do with a little bit more plumage on its tail feathers, couldn't it? It's a little bit barren.
The heron's our first piece of art installation. We're looking to refresh it every few months, working with West Herts College and the students there. It should be going in September, and perhaps it's suffering, unfortunately, from people doing what they shouldn't do.
Riding the heron.
Correct.
What are you hoping to get? What are you hoping to get in September then? Do you know yet?
It will be a surprise every few months, and we look to unveil it and make a thing of it.
Matt, how can you be critical of a fountain that's going to have rotating art every few months? Something different comes in. I think that's wonderful.
Why does a pond need rotating art?
It doesn't need it. It's an enhancement. It's a fantastic opportunity for local artists to display their work, and it's great for the people of Watford to see something new and different every few months.
How much did this cost?
The heron was a gift from Veolia, who are our contractors who do the street cleansing, the parks maintenance.
Your contractors, so you've got your private people involved in this.
A free heron, Matt. There is literally nothing nothing you can complain about there.
There is no actual heron in the pond, is there? There used to be.
The heron Hannibal the heron, as he's locally known, used to visit the pond, and we envisage Hannibal coming back.
Where is Hannibal now?
Well, he's a wild creature. He's obviously chosen somewhere else to go.
Let's go and speak to some punters.
Yep, let's go
and let's just prove you wrong once and for all.
No, they will back me up straight away.
I love it. Quite often, people who are negative get heard more than people who are positive, because the rest of us can't be bothered to turn out.
I'm hearing an accent. Is this the kind of pond that you get in Italy, where you're from?
Not from Italy. I'm from Australia.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard the. Would this kind of thing go down well in Australia?
Anywhere with water would go down well, because it helps cool the place down. It gets a bit warm.
What's an Aussie doing in Watford?
I came to England to work 30 years later, and I loved it so much I stayed.
I think the person in Rebel Pebble was interested in speaking to you about the pond.
Right. Do they think it's rubbish?
No, I think they quite like it. I think
everyone likes the pond.
It's a lovely pond. Look at it. Look at it. Don't you think it's with the
Have the council paid you?
Hey, look. This. Come and look at this sign. Look at this. This is funny. They've done a joke. Please don't feed the ducks. Bread is not their natural diet. It makes them ill. It drives them quackers.
Yeah, it's a funny joke.
It's a funny joke, man. It's a funny joke.
I am losing the will to live.
Matt, a young lady, Amanda, has come to join us. Matt here is a reporter for the BBC. He's getting paid to do this. He's running an anti-pond campaign every week on my show. Come on, what do you say to him?
Come on, it's something new. Give it a chance.
I'd give it a chance.
Matt, listen to her, please.
Right.
Please, you've got to let the good algae take the bad algae. Then they can get the fish in. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful pond. The water's there. The wind's blowing. It's gorgeous.
This pond life feature we've been doing on my show every week. Shall we end it? Is it done?
End it.
Matt?
Come on, let's all be positive.
Let me know if this is inappropropriate. Can we have like a hug by the pond? Like
Let's
a pond
do
hug?
that.
Let's have a hug.
Let's have a hug by the pond.
Come on, guys.
That was great.
Feeling slightly better.
This is nonsense. It's a nice pond. Matt, you're a massive... I forgot I did. Well done. Matt.
Oh, dear.
It is a fantastic pond. I cannot believe you have waged this one-man campaign of hatred against what is a great improvement to that end of the high street.
Look, to be fair, you and Justin came down to the pond several weeks after its opening, after I identified these problems that got sorted out. It's looking a bit better.
No dog owner let their dog urinate next to me.
Well, that was me. That was my experience.
Okay. What's your next made-up campaign?
Getting rid of these papers.
Oh, for goodness. Oh, quickly before I go, Murph has emailed in. Iain, could you ask Matt to say, I don't really know Rita?
What?
Just say it.
Oh, is he saying I'm that guy out of Coronation Street?
Mavis, yeah. So could you say, I don't really know Rita?
What, as in that boring guy?
It's a woman.
Oh, is it? I don't really know Rita.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Looking very heavy at the moment on the Great North Road heading southbound, just approaching the Black Cat roundabout. In Luton, very heavy moving at the moment on Airport Way, just at junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout. Also looking rather heavy on the M25 heading anti-clockwise between junction 22 for St Albans and junction 19 for Watford. In Stanmore, Marsh Lane at the moment is closed. That's just at Nelson Road due to a burst water main there. Taking a look so far at the trains, and disruption on East Coast trains between Stevenage and King's Cross, and that's due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nicola, thank you very much. Just got some breaking news coming through now from Matt Lockwood. I told Matt that after I saw him yesterday in Watford, I went for a burger. Well, Matt, you've just told me something awful that happened to you in a burger restaurant once. What was that?
Well, on Saturday I got a burger from a certain chain. And I was on the train and I thought, this is lovely, innit? I've been drinking all day with my uncle, so I needed some food.
Yep.
And I opened it up, this burger, and I was saying, where's my bottom? It had no bottom. First time in about 30 years, no bottom.
No bottom on your burger?
No bottom on the burger.
Matt, thank you very much
indeed. Has it happened to you? And you can't take it back, can you?
No, you can go. That was my cue for you to leave.
Yep.
Unbelievable. If you've never had a bottom on your burger, you can call me now, but right now it's 7:47. These are your headlines. A Milton Keynes couple says cuts in council care are having a damaging effect on their son. 20 cars have been scratched in South Oxley, and in last night's football friendlies, MK Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1, and Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello there, a very sunny day today, very warm as well. A bit of patchy mist and fog around first thing, but that should disperse fairly early on. And then we're left with more sunshine and just a bit of fair weather cloud, light winds and temperatures reaching 26 or 27 degrees Celsius. Now tonight, quite a muggy night, maybe one or two very light showers, although it may not even make it to ground. However, if you get up early in the morning, you might see some lightning. Otherwise, a largely clear night with lows of 17 degrees Celsius. That's very warm. And a hot and humid day for tomorrow. We have a heat health watch starting, continuing until Sunday. After a muggy start, we'll have pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine for much of the day. Temperatures reaching perhaps 31 degrees Celsius. It may even be enough to trigger a shower. And there is a yellow early warning in place for rain for Saturday. That's because of these homegrown thunderstorms we're expecting. Probably some lightning and thunder, and maybe even some hail as well. That does calm down later on in the day, though, but Sunday will probably still have some thundery showers around, but becoming drier and less humid from Monday onwards. That's your latest forecast.
This weekend, it's all about Bedford here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
The River Festival is 36 years old.
And this weekend, we'll bring it all to you.
Tomorrow, I'm live from the town to give you all the build-up and let you know everything that's coming up this weekend.
Then on Saturday, I'll bring you 3 hours from the heart of the festival as it all gets underway.
And on Sunday, Sophie Solaria and me, Gareth Lloyd,
live from the riverbank with all the action from Bedford's premier water event.
The Bedford River Festival weekend starts with me, Roberta Peroni, tomorrow from 3
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Why wasn't I asked to be part of Bedford's premier water? I think I'm covering Bedford's tertiary water event. Mm-hmm. Does tertiary mean third?
Yes, that's the Great Puddle Parade.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do the deuxième.
Yes.
I'm allowed to do the tertiary.
Troisième.
Why is there not first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, because that goes up? Why is there primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, quintiary? Quintiary, of course, was a pathologist.
Yes, he was very good as well.
Why is that? He was a very good pathologist, although he's always copping off with young women on a boat.
Yes.
So why is there not a fourth one?
Don't know.
In that, we've got some texts.
Yes, we have.
Do you want to read them?
Go on.
Go on then. Get
really?
In there. Go on.
This is from Chris in Milton Keynes. Is Dave Luton the only man in the world who believes the Express? Anyway, it's absolutely right to give foreign aid to third world countries to save people's lives. We are stinking rich. We're something like the 6th or 7th richest country in the world. How that wealth is distributed is another matter entirely, and something this government has a lot to answer for, says Chris in Milton Keynes.
Stuart has got a comment on that on Twitter. Iain Lee clearly doesn't understand the meaning of suffering. Too many people suffer in this country by wasting money on foreign aid. Well, is it a waste? That's interesting. I tell you how I do know the meaning of suffering, Stuart, and it's reading grammatically incorrect and misspelt tweets. Two, in that instance, should have 2 O's.
Oh, dear. And also, it says James, but I think it might be Colombo, actually, that sent this text in, talking about the scratched cars in South Oxley. Yep. JDR. Justin Dealey reporter, suggests James.
Yeah, it's distinctly possible. I think we just need to go a little bit light on Justin. I mean, he's reliving a horrible period in his life by telling us about graffiti and things. So,
hey, I saw something people might want to talk about. Do you want to know what it is?
Let me think for a second. Something that people might want to talk about. Kath saw it. Do I want to know what it is? Let me ask. Hang on, sorry. Let me just ask Siri. Let's see if I can get Siri to work. Do I want to know what Kath saw that people might want to talk about?
Who would you like to ring?
No. Kath saw something that people might like to talk about. Do I want to know what it is?
Okay.
Sorry, hang on.
Didn't sound too sure.
No. Do I want... Well,
my web search turned this up.
No, hang on. Do I want to know what Kath saw?
Okay, take a look.
It's giving me Wikipedia about a castle. What? Hang on.
Because it thinks you're saying... If you say Catherine, which is my actual name...
Who is Catherine Boyle?
Oh.
It's looking. I think you might have upset Siri. Bear with us.
Is he being serious?
There is a Texan beauty queen called Catherine Boyle.
I'm really sorry about this, but I can't take any requests at the moment. Please try again in a bit.
Oh, shall I try on my phone? Maybe it's just in a mood with you.
Hey!
Hang on a second, we can't...
Does Iain want to see what Kath saw?
Looking. Here's what I found on the web.
Oh, he thinks I said, does Iain want to see
Hang on
a
a minute.
castle?
Hang on a minute.
Because my name's not Kath.
Who is Catherine Boyle?
Stop it.
Does Iain
Contact
like
information for
Catherine?
Boyle.
Okay, it's not... I tell you what, Kath...
Here's what I found on the web.
I tell you what, Kath, I'm going to take a punt. Yeah, go on, tell us.
Right, net mums have done a survey, but don't let that put you off.
Net mums have done a survey and it's... Whoa!
Apparently households are cutting back 10% on their expenditure. Why? To buy presents for teachers at the end of term.
Jeez.
17 out of 20 pupils give end-of-year gifts to teachers, an average cost of £10. And apparently competition between families has led to staff at some schools being sent gifts including spa weekends and designer handbags. It's...
Flippin' heck.
I don't think I'm going to buy a present at all. Is that tight?
No, well, you know...
Listen, my sister used to be a teacher. She used to come home every end of term with mugs, teddy bears, all that sort of stuff.
Straight in the bin.
I mean, what are you going to do with it? How many mugs do you need?
Well, if you've got vouchers for a spa, though, then you're going to use those.
Do you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to write in the card actually what she's meant to my daughter's learning and how brilliant she's been.
Hey,
that means more, surely.
You know that there was that thing that went viral, that letter from that headmistress that said, listen, you may not have done well in your SATs or whatever, but what those exams, they don't show you that you're a loving brother, that you help your sister, you're good to your mum, you speak 2 languages.
That your smile lights up a room, you're a great dancer.
She cut and pasted it off the internet. She didn't even write it. She found it off the internet. Suddenly, that sounds like a hollow, patronising, meaningless pat on the back from someone who couldn't give a stuff about you. Isn't that sad?
So, I'm not going to cut and paste it. I'm going to write something from my heart. That'll mean more, won't it?
Write something from my heart. You can't write with a heart. You need a pen. Yeah, OK, well...
Do you buy presents for teachers?
What, now?
Yeah, well done for doing your job. Here's a present.
Whoa. It's not... No, because it's a nice thing to do. Kelly, when your school term finishes this year, are you going to get a present for your teacher?
I get presents for them when they leave or when it's the end of the actual school year. Not for every term. It's, I
think we got a present for
one.
the teacher at kids' school.
I think it's rubbish.
What, giving teachers presents?
Yeah, if it's a rubbish, a box of chocolates or something, why? Write them something that means something, that is individual, and that touches a point, and it makes them realise that what they do is important.
I like the way you did that lesson, miss. It was wicked.
Sick.
Something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
You're totally Bear Grylls, baby.
She is.
08459 455 555. What did you buy your teacher as a present, and do you think it is inappropriate?
And if you're a teacher... You bin them, don't you?
Well, but when you leave here...
When I leave, yeah, but not when
You'll get a present.
Yeah, when I eventually...
I mean, it'd be a rubbish present, judging by what everyone else gets.
It'd be a gold watch the way I'm going.
Why?
I'm never going to leave. Can't get out.
Time.
Stuart has tweeted, if Iain Lee thinks it's better to give foreign lands rather than help those here at home, then he's the muppet, not David Newton. What? I don't understand this thing about foreign aid. Why is helping foreigners... People who might have AIDS and malaria and TB, children, why is that mutually exclusive to helping people in this country? They're not mutually exclusive. It's like saying that, to help old people, you'd have to cut back on fixing the roads. Well, you don't. They're two separate things altogether that can both coexist. So, Stuart, I'm not saying it's better to give to foreign lands rather than help those here at home. Say we can do both.
Hey, Stuart, call us.
Oh, yeah.
08459 455 555.
It's a phoning show, isn't it?
Yeah.
I miss Matt Lockwood.
I don't really know, Rita.
Luckily, we've always got that to remind ourselves.
I miss Justin Dealey.
Really?
Have we got...
As you know, I deal in facts and not fiction.
Yeah.
I like that he says, as you know.
As you know.
As you know.
Yeah.
It's true, then.
I mean, when I try to think what we used to give teachers. Cards.
Yeah, card.
Little card.
I once bought mine a Christmas decoration. She left around Christmas. She wrote a thank you card saying it's something that I bring out every year now.
One of my first ever crushes.
She probably doesn't anymore.
Was on Mrs. Hammond. I wonder where Mrs. Hammond is these days. What she got up to. We used to have a song
Ask
about.
Richard.
We used to have a song about her killing her husband. She hadn't killed her husband. But
wishful thinking, was it?
Well, we just had a song about her killing her husband, as you do.
That doesn't even rhyme.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, there was a song about this old hammer killed Joe Henry. Do you remember that song? Joe Henry was a gentleman who dug a hole through a mountain for a train.
That was John Henry, wasn't it?
Whatever. They shortened it to Joe. And so we changed it to Mrs. Hammond killed her husband, but she won't kill me. If you know where she is, I had such a crush on her.
School in the 30s was weird.
Oh, cheeky!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Very heavy moving at the moment on the A1M heading southbound between Junction 8 and Junction 7 for Stevenage. The M25 heading anti-clockwise on the sensors, very slow moving between Junction 22 for St Albans and Junction 19 at Watford. And having a look at the A414, that's looking rather busy around the Park Street roundabout so far this morning. And the A1 heading southbound, very heavy between Stirling Corner and Apex Corner. No reported problems on the trains. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you! Lots coming up in the last hour of the show. For some reason, we're arguing about foreign aid. For some reason, I was getting abuse yesterday for not talking about the Gaza Strip. Well, as far as I'm aware, the Gaza isn't in beds, hearts, or indeed bucks, is it?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Jane Killick. The headlines. A family in Milton Keynes say they don't know how they'll cope without free respite care. Tory move to take decisions on human rights back from Europe, and vehicles vandalised in South Hertfordshire.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A family in Milton Keynes say they don't know what they're going to do after free respite care was taken away for their son. Keith Ridley, who's 25, is so severely autistic his parents have to watch him so he doesn't put his hand into a hot oven to take food or eat food raw from the freezer. Dad Paul from Wolverton has had to give up work to look after him and says the 1 day a week and the 1 weekend a month rest they have is invaluable.
We need it. Without respite, I don't know what will happen to this family at all. How long we can go for is another matter, because we can't send him in because we don't know how much we're going to be charged, and that is the worrying thing.
The Conservatives are drawing up plans for a new law to limit the power of the European Court of Human Rights in the UK. Here's our political editor, Nick Robinson.
Parliament, not foreign judges, should decide what is and what is not a breach of human rights. That, at least, is what many Conservatives have argued for years in the face of court judgments from Strasbourg, ordering ministers to give prisoners the right to vote or preventing the government from deporting foreign criminals. The Prime Minister is planning to unveil an election promise of a new law which would assert that Parliament and not the European Court of Human Rights has supremacy on these issues.
The Liberal Democrats are calling for an immediate overhaul of the coalition's housing benefit reform, known to critics as the bedroom tax. Writing in the Daily Mirror, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Danny Alexander, says the policy isn't working, but the Conservatives argue that cutting the welfare bill is essential. The Palestinian group Hamas and Israel have both agreed to respect a 5-hour ceasefire in Gaza, which is due to start now after 9 days of fighting. The Israeli military said the truce would allow residents in Gaza to stock up on supplies. A Hamas spokesman confirmed that his group would also stop rocket attacks in that time. Police are appealing for information about a number of vehicles that were vandalised in the Watford area. Over the last 2 weeks, more than 20 cars have been scratched in South Oxley, some with the initials JDR. Penny Batterson is a resident of Blairhead Drive, where several cars have been damaged.
It all happened one night. Yeah, one Sunday night. All happened. And we woke up in the morning and all our cars were done. Been here 20 years, never had it. Never had it. No.
A duck has been taken to a wildlife sanctuary after being caught on fishing hooks at Apsley Loch in Hemel Hempstead. The bird was found with hooks through her beak and wing. The RSPCA says the duck would have starved to death if it hadn't been rescued, and it's asking anglers to be more careful about taking their fishing tackle home. In last night's football, MK Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1, and in Matt Bloomfield's testimonial, Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. The weather, a fine and settled day with light winds and some good sunny spells with a high of 26 Celsius. And get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
There's so much going on here, so much.
And all this week we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
Living rural, you have rural atmosphere.
It's all about where you live.
Everything you want or your kids want, you don't have to go far, you don't have to be driving miles, you can just stick to the village.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Well, it's been a real mixed bag of a show this morning. We're talking about respite care. We've argued about foreign aid. I've pointed out I was getting abuse on Twitter yesterday because we're not talking about Gaza. I will need to check the maps, but I don't think Gaza is in beds, hearts, or indeed bucks. So, I mean, that's... And also, in the great scheme of things, what is a local radio show going to achieve there? Presents for teachers as well. People are spending more and more money on getting presents for their teachers. Kath thinks it's a waste of money, don't you, Kath?
I do a bit. Write them a nice letter. It means more.
Oh, there you go. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
We got some texts on that.
And a tweet.
Aye.
Texts and a tweet. Lisa in Leighton Buzzard says she agrees with me. Good. Presents for teachers is a stupid practice that's more about one-upmanship than genuine thanks. Bar humbug, says Lisa.
Yeah.
And Mark in Bedford said, I was a teacher. The best gift, 6 fresh eggs laid that morning. Wonderful.
Well, sorry?
Buy a chicken or...
Well, I would hope so. I would hope so. And
I wonder what crocodile eggs taste like. I bet they're delicious.
Chicken.
Oh, I bet they're tangy. Crocodile smell.
Yeah, well, you're not going to eat...
But you know, like goat's cheese tastes a bit like how goats smell.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon it's the same thing.
Okay.
We've also had a tweet from Leslie who says, we always make edible gifts.
Oh, no.
This year it's personalised biscuits. If you're a teacher, really, would you eat those? I've been told that another mum has bought a Pandora bracelet.
I don't know what that means.
Really expensive.
Here's the rules about food. Never eat food that children have made, and never eat food given to you as a present. Those are the basics.
My mum friends, if they ever give me biscuits that they've made with the children, they always set one aside and say, I haven't touched that one.
Right, okay, yeah. Because it's full of bogies and spit. And
what's it?
I wouldn't accept any food from a child. The kids smell like quavers and Sudocrem.
Yeah, they do. There will be Sudocrem in that pizza that they've made. Not made the pizza. They've just got some pizza base and put vegetables on the top. I can do that.
After rolling the vegetables around in their hands and on the floor for a bit.
I do wonder why we have children sometimes. Particularly, I would never eat food made by a child. That's the advice from BBC Three Counties Radio. 08459 455 555. Now, this morning, we've been talking about a couple from Wolverton who have been forced to give up their respite after Milton Keynes Council introduced charges for adults using the service. Well, their son is 25 years old. Meanwhile, the Education Committee will call for a change in the policy, which currently forces kids in care to leave before they turn 21. But if councils can't afford respite care for disabled 20-somethings, how can they afford to keep others longer term? With us now to discuss this further is MP Graham Stewart, Conservative Chair of the Education Committee. Morning, Graham. Where's the money going to come from?
Well, it's got to come out of prioritising the needs of extremely vulnerable young people. And we know that, the correlation between councils having more money and the quality of their services isn't all that strong. And the truth is, with the right focus, early intervention, and giving a top priority to looking after people whose families have broken down and who find themselves in the care system is the right thing to do, and economically it's sensible as well, because we know that the long-term prospects for people who aren't supported properly when they're in care are not good, and we want to stop young people ending up being miserable now, and we want to stop them ending up in crime, prostitution, drug and alcohol abuse when they're older.
But this is going to cost money, and we're hearing about cuts all over the place at the moment. So I'm just wondering where you're going to find this extra cash.
Well, it's got to be found from within the budgets, and it's got to be done within the fiscal discipline which is necessary when you've had Gordon Brown's left behind £150 billion a year overspend, Graham, which, as you know, we're still overspending by £100 billion a year. But if you're saying to me that we should prioritise that over looking after kids for the long term,
I'm not saying that in the slightest. But with the greatest respect, the coalition have been in power for 5 years. At what point do we stop blaming the previous government and start taking responsibility
for the vast structural debt that was left behind, the largest recession that the country's known for a century? I think the debts created by Gordon Brown's profligacy are going to be with our grandchildren in. I think the BBC typically does not communicate just how dreadful is the scale of that.
Graham,
but I'm not here to talk about that today.
Well, no, but you are, and I'm going to respond to that. When does the coalition stop blaming the previous government and start accepting responsibility?
It does accept responsibility.
Then why mention what happened 4 or 5 years ago? Why not say this is what we're doing now and this is why we're doing it?
Well, the reason we're doing it, the whole context, Iain, which doesn't get over on the BBC half the way it should do.
Second dig at the BBC, I don't quite understand why, Graham, but carry on.
Because I watch it and I listen, and you would think we look at it as if there's no big structural issue here. This country now, under this coalition, is spending more than £100 billion a year more than it has coming in as a government. It is piling up debt, which is interest payments will take away from our ability to do things like looking after young people in care, which is what I wanted to talk to you about today, and where we're saying that young people are being put in bed and breakfast when they're 16 and 17 years old.
OK, so you're going to find this money. You're going to find this money. What other services are going to be cut to find this money? Because you can't just magic money out of nowhere, can you?
Could I talk to you about the report we've made today? We know that,
you can answer the question and then go into the report, Graham. Where are you're going to find this money? And I was just wondering what services will be cut to find this extra money to pay for this?
I don't know, Iain. I'm making recommendations about priorities within the department, which is a £58 billion a year.
So councils will need to deal with it. Councils will need to find the money.
It is their responsibility to do this. Though the government, when recommendations that have previously been made, such as this government brought in an extension of the right to stay in foster care to 21, the government found £40 million to support the introduction of that budget. So
where are councils going to find the money? Because on this show every day we hear about that funding being cut for respite care. We're talking about this morning funding being cut for old people. So how much is it going to cost councils, and where do they get the money from?
Well, I've just said that if there are specific extensions that need to be funded, then central government would need to contribute.
You also said it was council's responsibility. So how much will it cost?
There are a whole series of responsibilities council have and that central government has. Can we please talk about?
No, I know you want to go to
I'm happy to talk about that. I came on this morning to talk about vulnerable young people transitioning from care to adulthood.
But it's very important. The money is a big issue.
It is quite right.
You've made these recommendations, Graham. I just wondered if you had some figures that you could tell us how much it would cost and where the council are supposed to get this money from.
I don't have figures, so I can't answer your question specifically.
So you've made these recommendations, but you don't know how much it's going to cost?
Correct.
That sounds like the kind of thing that got us into trouble 5 years ago. People just pulling figures out of thin air.
Nobody has pulled figures out of thin air. You're the one trying to do that. What we are making recommendations.
You're making recommendations. I would have thought they would have been costed.
The Education Select Committee does not have the ability to cost programmes which haven't been decided on in detail. When we recommend that the government should consult on it, that's precisely the work that needs to be done. They need to find out the different impacts in different areas, and they need to make sure that they prioritise the needs of some of the most vulnerable young people in our society.
So
regardless of the economic backdrop.
So what are you recommending?
Regardless of the economic backdrop, we need to ban the use of bed and breakfasts for 16 and 17-year-olds. We need to make sure that young people who are in residential care homes who may have gained stability for the first time in their lives are not forced out of the door just because they turn 18. And there are serious cost implications of extending that forward to 21, which is what we recommend, and that needs to be looked at, considered, and we think the cash found, because if you don't look after these young people who've had fractured childhoods, who are extremely vulnerable, and you don't look after them now, then you are going to find that the long-term cost, not only to them but to wider society, is far greater than an investment in providing them with support, stability and security in their in their teens. And that's what we want to see. The nature of the recommendations we make is that we are unable to cost them. What we ask the government to do is to cost it, talk to councils and make sure we do prioritise these people. The danger is that in broader political terms that these relatively small numbers but significant numbers of young people who are very vulnerable are swept away in big arguments about fiscal discipline and the like. And this morning what I want to do is prioritise their needs, make the case for them, and yes, it's tough in this dealing with this ferocious
And then when they're
deficit.
21, they're on their own.
Well, what we have said that is care support services should be extended without question for all of them to the age of 25. Again,
it's more money. I know you don't want to talk about the fiscals, and we won't, because obviously you have an issue discussing that. But it's all well and good.
I didn't want to have the entire interview dominated by that.
It hasn't been, and it wasn't going to be. But you can't just make these wide sweeping. We're going to keep the benefits going to. We're going to support them. We're going to. And not realise that the money has to be found from somewhere.
You're absolutely right. And
you seem not to have considered that.
Of course we've considered it, but we're making the case for the priority to be given to this. The government, I said the Department for Education has a £58 billion a year budget. It's not as if levels of government expenditure don't allow for priority to be given to these young people, and it is for others to work out, as you say, which other, what things will be reduced as a result, or what efficiencies can be used in order to ensure that these young people are prioritised. It's if you intervene early, you support these people early, you will save yourself money in the long term. It's not only the right thing to do, it's economically the right thing to do as well.
OK, Graham, thank you very much indeed. That's Graham Stewart MP, Conservative Chair of the Education Committee, as you heard there, the Conservatives, the caring party. One thing that does annoy me. How long have the coalition been in power? Is it 4 years or is it 5 years? I don't know. But at what point do we stop blaming the previous government? Do we take it back to Tony Blair? Do we take it back to John Major? When John Major was in power? I don't know. Do we still go back to Margaret Thatcher to talk about the fact that there aren't enough council houses for people to live in? How far do we go back, and at what point do a government in power or a coalition in power accept responsibility? Graham, thank you very much. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Broughton, we're getting reports in of an accident on the A509 heading southbound between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and the Northfield roundabout. In Luton, looking very heavy on the sensors on Airport Way, just at junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout. The A1M's looking rather slow moving between junction 8 and junction 7 for Stevenage, and slow moving on the A414 just around the Park Street roundabout. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, showing on the sensors to be quite slow moving between junction 22 for St Albans and junction 19 at Watford. No reported problems or delays on the trains. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Nicola. 8:16. We've got some interesting tweets and comments about presents for teachers. We'll get there in a second. It's 8:16. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. These are your headlines. A family in Milton Keynes says they don't know how they'll cope after council cuts mean they're being charged for respite care. The Conservatives are drawing up plans to take some powers away from the European Court of Human Rights. And vandals have scratched more than 20 cars in South Oxley in Hertfordshire.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 3.
Spend your afternoons talking about beds, hearts and bucks.
It's an amazing venue. If you haven't been to Amstel Park, get along. It's absolutely beautiful.
Discussing the biggest stories
in terms of our people, we've invested £5 million to recruit new nurses.
in the company of friends. Howard Berry, Ian Brown, Amanda Devlin. Amanda, what have you been watching this week?
I went to the Happy Days.
And debating the week's hottest topics.
The biggest problem is actually lack of money, lack of opportunities, poor availability of training.
The use of CCTV spy cars to catch people who park illegally is to be banned.
Roberto Perroni, weekdays from 3. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hast du Geschwister?
Nein, ich habe eine Bruder.
Nein. Geschwister ist eine Schwester oder Bruder.
Ah, ja. Ich habe einen Bruder. Mein Bruder heißt Christopher.
Geschwister?
Er hat blondes Haare und blaue Augen.
Wo wohnst du?
Ich wohne in Harpenden. Harpenden liegt in Südostengland, in der Nähe von der historischen Stadt St. Albans.
Entschuldigen Sie bitte, wie komme ich am besten zum Bahnhof?
I can't remember the directions to the train station.
Gehen Sie hier geradeaus, über die Kreuzung, und der Bahnhof ist über der linken Seite.
Ah,
yeah.
You sounded a bit Dutch then. Your German sounds a bit Dutch.
You sounded very German until you said Harpenden. And then
you can't say Harpenden with a German accent.
Harpenden. No, you can't.
Wasn't
that good?
Wasn't that lovely?
That was marvellous.
What a complete and utter waste of years of my life.
Yeah, German was.
I
really.
mean, what a waste. How stupid to teach children German. I mean, I wish, because nowadays they teach children constructive languages like Spanish.
Or the Chinese. I'd love to learn the Chinese.
Do they teach Chinese?
Mandarin, isn't it? Language of the future.
I can honestly say I have never and will never, ever need to use German.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Supposing you are in Germany and you are... I asked the way to the train station the one time I went to Germany. I couldn't understand the instructions.
But I go to Spain a lot. I'd love to be able to speak Spanish.
Learn it.
Well, I tried to, but as an adult, it's very difficult. I was useless. I was at the bottom of the class. They laughed at me.
Did they? I learned Greek for a while. And I was all right. Then 3 months in, it suddenly just got really, really difficult, and it's all to do with genders. And the noun will change the gender of the whole sentence. There are more irregular verbs than regular verbs.
So, and to be honest, the minute they bring in all that silly business of giving words, masculine or feminine,
no, it's nonsense.
I'm afraid they lose me.
Do you know the language?
It's unnecessary.
The easiest language to learn.
What's that?
Japanese.
Really?
It's a piece of cake. The sentence structure is really, really rigid. Once you know what order the words go in, that's it. There are only 4 tenses, and you just change the end of the word. There are hardly any irregular verbs, I think.
But don't they make completely different sounds that we don't have in English?
Hey!
What?
Hang on a second. I'm trying to think. Kore wa dare no kasa desu ka?
What?
Kore wa dare no kasa desu ka? Whose umbrella is this?
Ah.
And I when I went to Japan, I was saying that phrase as often as I could.
Really?
Kore wa dare no kasa desu ka? Ah, dozo. And you give it to them.
Go on.
It will involve stealing someone's umbrella.
But you don't sound Japanese.
In Tokyo, they understood me. The further away from Tokyo we got, the more they're going, what? They didn't understand a word I was saying. Lazy Japanese outside of Tokyo. Lazy.
Well, if everyone just spoke English, things would be so much easier, wouldn't they?
It would, wouldn't it? I do wonder sometimes why they don't.
Exactly. Selfish.
Lazy foreigners. Call me now. 08459 455 555. Who are the lazy? What's the laziest nationality in the world?
I think it might be British people.
I think it might be. I think it might be. What's on your show today?
Coming up on
continuing this casual racism?
No.
Good.
No, we're moving well away from casual racism at 9. Coming up on the big phone in this morning from 9, I'm asking, would it be fair to put a limit on child benefit? A well-known think tank, the Policy Exchange, says the government should limit child benefit to 4 children and pay less and less for each child after the first child is born. Why? Well, they think couples need to think a lot more about the financial impact of starting a family before they have unprotected sex. And they argue that these changes could save the government up to £1 billion a year in welfare spending. Currently, couples receive £20 for their first child and £13.55 for each child after that. Well, from 9 this morning, I want your views on this. Would it be fair to put a limit on child benefit? Do you think the current system we have is ridiculous? I mean, you presumably get child benefit. You don't need it.
Don't need it, no. We wouldn't miss it if it was if it was cancelled for us. I think it should be means tested, definitely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
But means testing's expensive.
Oh, is it really?
It's expensive. You've got to have people sitting in offices making judgments.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were to just put a limit in, say your first one child, you get child benefit for, and then any more that you want to have, that you're on your own, or perhaps even 2 children.
Here's the thing, guys, right? Let's get it out on the table. If you can't afford to have kids, don't have them.
Oh, you only want rich people to have children?
No, I don't want...
It's not very like you.
Poor people can have children as well, although... No, I'm joking. Poor people can have children as well, but you've got to budget for it. When we had our kids, we did maths. We also did something else, but we did maths to work out whether we could afford them and what kind of life we would be bringing them into. And we went, okay, do you know what? We're doing all right. And if I lost that job, we've got this in the savings. So we'll do it. Okay, whip them off. And we were away. And I think there needs to be more...
How romantic.
It's functional. And
Did you have this discussion in the bed?
Yes.
With your calculator?
We had a calculator out, pants on. No, see. Take them off. We're good to go. I think we can do it.
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like your thoughts. Would it be fair to put a limit on child benefit? Call on 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Auf Wiedersehen. Richard in Winslow.
Wow.
Yes.
Guten Abend, Fräulein. Entschuldigen Sie bitte. Wo ist der Platz mit die Autobahn und die Bahnhof?
Kannst du taken die Telefonios auf die... Ja, kannst du taken die Telefonios auf die Speakerphone?
Why?
Because it sounds rubbish on speakerphone.
All right.
Use your hands, you lazy plum.
I can't hit plum yourself. Now listen, before I start, I'd just like to say to all our Polish listeners, dzień dobry.
OK, all right, so you sucked up to the Poles. When are you going to suck up to me?
Now, listen, suck up to you, I don't think so. The reason we have to keep reminding people about the massive hole in the finances created by the so-called Labour Party...
Well, they're not so-called, Richard. They're not... When people keep making ridiculous points, I'm going to interrupt. They're not the so-called Labour Party. They're the Labour Party.
Well, they're not. A labouring anyway, whatever you want to call them. Socialist, Marxist, Communist, also.
Flipping it.
The reason we have to keep reminding people is because if they get voted in again, they'll just do the same old thing that they always do, overspend and put us into hock, as they did in the 70s.
There was a massive financial meltdown all around the world. Yeah, Gordon Brown did some silly things. Why the hell did he sell all that gold to the Chinese? I'll never know. But...
Thank you.
But there was a massive financial collapse
that
all around the world. That's not Labour's fault. That's not Labour's fault.
And a massive mismanagement of the immigration policy that's allowed so many people into the country. Now that we can't get an appointment at the doctor, that you can't get into a school, and so on and so on. And people
hang on a minute. Are we talking about immigration, or are we talking about financial overspending?
We're talking about the mistakes of the last Labour government. One of which is a massive mismanagement of finances,
Richard,
part of the world crisis.
How long?
Of finance.
How long has the coalition?
Can I speak without you interrupting for once?
How long has the coalition been in power?
I'll take that as a no.
How long has
What's that got to do with it?
How long has the coalition been in power?
What's that got to do with it? They've had 4 and a bit years.
So they've had 4 and a bit, nearly 5 years. Okay.
I'll give you a simple analogy, because I know you're a simple man.
Richard,
if you dig a massive hole 100 feet deep, I'm not going to fill it in 4.5 years with one shovel, am I? It's going to take me a lot longer. Right. And people should be reminded that you dug that enormous hole, or whoever it was.
The coalition have got more. The coalition have got more than one shovel. Now, at what point do the government in power, the coalition, stop blaming those before them, and start taking responsibility for the situation?
I think they're taking a great deal of responsibility. Not that I'm a particular fan of them.
How
the
long
answer
do we
to your
give them?
question,
5 years, 10 years,
stop
15
talking,
years?
and I'll interrupt you so that I can finish. The answer to the question is when the job is done. The job is far, far, far from done.
So, hang on a minute. The coalition can't accept responsibility for what they're doing until the job is done. Do you realise how ridiculous that sounds?
Well, I think that's a silly point of view if you believe that.
Well, no, you've just said that. That's
no,
what you just said.
You said it. You said it, not me. You're trying to put words in my mouth.
You just said when the job is done.
When you're having an argument.
You just said when the job is done, they can accept responsibility. And I just said that back to you. Richard, thank you very much indeed. He was properly angry there. That was fun. Peter!
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Peter. What would you like to have a whinge about today?
Well, first of all, I was going to say about when you was talking about the gold that Gordon Brown sold.
Yeah.
He actually sold that gold so the Queen, when she goes once a year to look at the mountain of gold in the Bank of England, doesn't get a Rick Nick. Anyway,
so he was doing an old lady a favour?
Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
Anyway, just one other thought. On the aid to foreign aid, basically.
Yeah.
If they took 2%, all these countries, if they took 2% of everything that they pay and put it into a fund, it would be self-financing in about 10 years, 12 years. And it's nonsense to me, keep giving every year, spending every penny of it, and not refinancing itself.
So
That's
you're saying
stupid.
they should, of the £11 billion a year we give, we should
13,
put some...
actually, it's 13.
All right. We gave £11 billion in 2013. I don't know what it's up to now.
It's 13 billion now,
Okay.
yeah.
So of the £13 billion we give, which is still 0.7% of the GNI, we should put some of that in what? The Halifax and get interest on it.
Well, whatever the corporate bond or whatever it is that would make the most interest,
but if we'd have done
get every country together in the world,
if we'd have done that 6, 7, 8 years ago, we'd have lost it all.
No.
In the big crash, but banks went bankrupt. We'd have lost it. If we'd have had it in Iceland, where loads of councils and government departments had their money.
You have to spread your assets, Ian. You have to spread your assets. You can't just leave it in one area.
But that's what people did. That's why some councils are bordering on bankruptcy because they put their money in Iceland.
Well, you never lost all your assets.
No, because
Nor did I.
No, well, did you spread it?
I spread it, okay, of course.
I bet you spread it about in your day, didn't you, Peter?
But anyway, no, I'm not going in that direction. But having said that, if they put 2% away a year, all the countries that donate, within no time at all, it'd be self-financing.
Peter, always good to talk to you. You're a good sport, thank you.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 heading southbound, looking rather slow moving between the Newport Pagnell services and junction 14 for Milton Keynes. One lane's closed on the A509 heading southbound just at the Northfield roundabout. The M1 also looking slow on camera between junction 13 for Bedford and junction 14 for Milton Keynes. In Luton, very heavy moving at the moment on Airport Way. That's heading westbound at junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout. And the M25 heading anti-clockwise, rather slow moving between junction 17 at Maple Cross and junction 15 at the M4. So far on the trains, everything's running well. No reported problems or delays. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Jane Killick. A family in Milton Keynes say they don't know how they will cope without free respite care. Council cuts mean they're being charged for their adult son to be looked after 1 day a week and 1 weekend a month. The Conservatives are drawing up plans to limit the power of the European Court of Human Rights in the UK. The move seeks to reassert the sovereignty of Parliament at Westminster. More than 20 cars have been scratched in the Watford area. They were vandalised in South Oxley, some with the initials JDR. The weather, fine, dry and very warm with some good sunny spells. On to sport and in golf, Englishman David Howell is the early leader at Golf's Open Championship at Hoylake. He's currently 2 under par after opening the 5 holes of his round. Former champion Paul Lawrie has also teed off, with Rory McIlroy the first of the big names to begin his challenge for the title. Luke Donald, originally from High Wycombe, has been discussing the Hoylake course.
It's a good solid test. It does offer some opportunities. Obviously, a par 72 is unusual for an Open Championship. The par 5s give you some opportunities to make some birdies. A tough start. First and second are quite narrow. Then it widens out a little bit. A bit more rough than 2006.
In cricket, the second test between England and India begins at Lord's this morning. It comes as India's Ravindra Jadeja is being charged by the International Cricket Council over the clash with James Anderson. Anderson faces the prospect of a 4-test suspension if he's found guilty of abusing and pushing the all-rounder. Jonathan Agnew reports.
Alistair Cook says that this ongoing dispute won't affect relations between the teams, but that doesn't seem possible. No one from the England camp witnessed the incident as they left the field at Trent Bridge, and the only person to have done so appears to be the Indian captain MS Dhoni, who said yesterday that once a player touches the other, it crosses a line. Anderson denies the allegation, and England have responded by levelling a charge against Jadeja, although a lesser grade 2.
In football, MK Dons won their final friendly on their tour of Ireland last night. The Dons beat Bray Wanderers 2-1 with goals from Kieran Wiltshire and Daniel Powell. In Matt Bloomfield's testimonial, Wycombe Wanderers lost 5-0 at home to Chelsea. Jose Mourinho fielded a strong Chelsea team. Former Dons loanee Patrick Bamford scored one of the goals, as did defender John Terry. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Little bits of satire on Twitter. We're talking for some reason about... Sorry, I would like to get the production team involved in this conversation. They're watching something on YouTube. What on earth are you... Oh, yeah, busted!
Hello.
Yeah, busted, both of you. Look at you. You're watching YouTube and then you're all giggling. Oh, we've been caught by Sir.
I'm not giggling.
You was giggling.
This is research.
What
should we say it was?
Research.
It's
okay,
research.
And what was it?
We were just researching.
Yeah, what were you researching?
A current trend.
What was it you were looking at?
I don't want to say too soon, it might make a story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to give it away. We know people are listening, need Nick stories.
Why can't you... Is it rude? Is it to do with that photograph you showed me?
No, it's not. It's something
Okay.
completely different from that.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with Grindr.
Nothing to do with Grindr, and nothing to do with how different you can look in photographs than in real life. It's more like that.
They're feeding me a line, Just, isn't it? Just? Oh, forgive me.
hang on.
Yeah, you see, look! You're not focusing, and I've not got my next reporter keyed up.
Who's there, bro?
It's the second time this morning, boss.
Justin, this is... They're watching... She's got YouTube back on again! I can see it!
What is going on?
Why are you... She's turned it away from me, so I can't see
Can you
it.
stop interrupting us? We're busy.
Oh, sorry, girls.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Incredible.
We're asking this morning about teachers, Justin, and giving presents and stuff after... It's kind of become a little bit of one-upmanship in people buying presents for their teachers.
Yeah.
Carpet Martin has... he's made a joke on Twitter.
Oh, well done.
He says, presents for teachers... What about lessons on how to drive in snow? Hey, mums and dads, who's with me? Hashtag topical, hashtag hottest day.
Fair play, Martin.
It's a good good point, isn't it?
Loving his work.
It's a good point. Have you been speaking to people about this?
Yes, I'm actually, as we currently speak, I'm outside the St Margaret of Scotland Catholic Primary School in Luton. It's a mouthful, that one. A moment ago, I spoke to teacher Lynn Hunter. The Prezzies, Ian, they're coming in already. This is what happened. Well, Lynn, as I entered the classroom, you had a gift in your hand. You don't finish until next week. Presents are coming in already. So that's what you've got here.
I've got a Hug Me teddy bear from one of the children in my class and a card which she's written herself.
Very sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've had some previously at the beginning of the week. I had some presents as well that children have made. So
every single year, the last week of term, it is your desk just littered with presents.
it is, and actually I've known years where I've had to have an army of helpers to carry stuff out to the boot of my car.
Wow.
Because of, flowers and chocolates. And I'm very, very grateful because for me it's an honour to teach those children. So I don't expect to get things, but just shows me how much I'm appreciated, really.
Now, you're retiring next week, so I'm presuming that an avalanche will be coming your way of presents from the kids.
I hope not, but, some things to keep that, I've got things here that I've kept over the years that children have given me. So, I just enjoy being with the children, actually. So
some of the presents are nice, like flowers and chocolates and things like that, but on your desk here already, ahead of next week before you go, some handmade presents from the kids.
Yeah.
Those must be the ones that mean the most to you.
They are, because I know that the children have put a lot of effort and thought into those, and it's special to them, something special that they've made for me. So
I think it's so nice.
Yeah, it is very nice, yeah. And I do appreciate it, because not all families can afford to buy gifts. I mean, it's hard times for a lot of people, so...
I'll let you crack on with the kids. Enjoy your day and enjoy your retirement. Go and sit in the sunshine, oil yourself up and get the bikini on.
I will still keep in touch with the school, because I'll be popping back and forwards, but...
I'm sure you will do. Thank you very much indeed.
Bikini on and windsurfing.
Exactly. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.
How nice is that, Ian? Heart-warming stuff.
Well, also, she's a teacher at a Catholic school, Josh. You can't go and tell her to oil herself up and put a bikini on.
Well, why not?
I don't know if Catholics wear bikinis. Anyway, maybe they do. Yeah, well, you say heartwarming. You're not a parent. You've not got to fork out for all this junk.
Well, in saying that, as she mentioned in that piece there, it's not just the presents such as the flowers and the chocolates and the teddy bears that are coming in, the ones which cost money, but also the presents which the kids make at home.
Oh, no.
Now, that wouldn't cost anything, really, would it?
My boy showed me a picture of him last night. It was him holding a torch, exploring in the woods.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a load of squiggles. It was rubbish. You couldn't make anything out of it. And that bit of paper will end up in the bin. And he's my own son.
No, it won't.
He's my own son, and I don't like his artwork.
On Lynn's desk. And, I went in today unannounced. I was taken straight into the classroom. I spoke to Lynn. On her desk, handmade presents, which you might think, what? Handmade presents from years gone by, still on her desk. They mean an awful lot to her. And retiring next week, she was mentioning there about helpers taking things to her car. Next week, I think it's going to be prezzies galore for Lynn Hunter here at the school.
We've got some text through on this one. This one's from Phil. Teacher's presents. My wife once came home with half a bottle of vodka.
Whoa! Oh,
and
yes!
Soft toys and flowers. Half a bottle of vodka.
Oh,
wow.
Where did the other half go?
Now you're talking, huh?
Do you know what? There's actually somebody here who works at reception. Now, her daughter lives in Belfast, and she takes in a small present to the teachers.
Yeah.
But she was saying that people were taking in things like Molten Brown for the teachers. Now, that's expensive stuff. That's about 20 quid for some soap. And that's the type of presents that teachers are getting.
No.
Not here, but where her daughter goes to, that school. It's like a competition with the parents.
Stop this madness now.
Leslie sent us a tweet earlier talking about Pandora bracelets. Now, they're not cheap either.
They're very expensive.
This is crazy.
Why not just a heartfelt letter?
Justin?
Letter and a present, I think.
Nah.
Yeah.
Who's right? Who's wrong? 08459 455 555. Thank you, Justin.
Now what?
Oh, I'm still doing the show, aren't I? Shall I have a look at the papers?
If you want.
What was that?
My foot moving the microphone.
Oh.
I hoped you'd ignore it.
Well, no, I drew attention to it. Let's have a little look at the paper. If you want to give us a call, let's have a little recap. What have we talked about this morning, Catherine? My head's all over the place.
All manner of stuff.
I've had a terrible headache. I'm taking way too many painkillers. I'm a little bit, hey, man.
Respite care for adults
with
learning disabilities has been not cut, but you have to pay for it now in Milton Keynes. We had the father of a 25-year-old man who's got quite severe autism and a number of other problems as well that mean that he can't speak, he can't go to the toilet for himself, and he tends to do things that could harm himself if he's not watched 24 hours a day. So his parents really, really hold on to that respite because it's their way of keeping a little bit of sanity, and they have another child as well. Like, again, not a child, an adult person, but someone with needs that mean that they have to.
Okay, here's the question:
the attention of a child.
Should you have to pay for respite care for a member of your family? There's the simple question: should you have to pay, or should it be free? There has to be a. Remember, when my mum went for a respite, we pay.
If you are someone who benefits from respite care, what does it mean to you? What difference does it make? And could you manage without it? Because this family's having to wait where they can afford it or not.
I mean, if you missed the interview, go and listen on the iPlayer. It sounded like they were having...
Well, he'd had a heart attack. They were having health problems.
He'd quit work. She'd fallen and slipped her disc, and she couldn't pick him up because he's a 25-year-old lad. So it sounds like they were having a horrible time of it. We're also talking about buying presents for teachers, because it's turned into one of those competitions now, according to Net Mum. What do Net Mums do?
They chat online so that if you're at home and you are a mum, you realise you're not quite so alone and your problems maybe aren't quite so special.
You're not allowed to slag Net Mums off.
Oh.
I mentioned something about them on this morning, when I was doing This Morning ages ago. They'd come up with another silly survey, and I said something. And in the break, Eamon Holmes said, Ian, you should just warn you, be very careful. Be very careful what you say about films and about the Net Mums, because they're very powerful. They got a lot of power, They're powerful, and if you go to see a film, they'll have power.
Was this on ITV?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got spending power.
What did you say in your voice? Do it in your voice.
I went, what? He said, that mum's got a lot of power. I was like, what? Yeah, mum's got a lot of power in the film. Oh. I was like, all right, nice one, Eamon, thank you.
I really felt like I was there. I like that.
Yeah, he's nice, Eamon.
Who else can you do?
I could do pretty much anyone. I can do Simon Cowell.
Go on then.
Look, that was rubbish.
We've had another
funny
text.
That's what you say.
We've had another text through, thank goodness, about presents for teachers.
Hang on a minute. I'm on a roller coaster. Don't
Really?
stop
a roll
the
of what?
Don't stop the roller coaster. Give me someone. I'll do it.
Can you do a woman?
Sorry?
Can you do Lorraine Kelly's voice?
No, I can't do Scotch.
Can you?
I refuse to.
Cilla
You all right,
Black?
Catherine? You crying?
Bit.
Yeah.
Can you do Cilla Black?
Oh, Cilla Black! Oh, surprise!
Oh, you can do Scottish.
So you can do Scottish. Yeah.
That's Scouse.
No, it's not.
Oh, Cilla Black! Everybody, look at me! I'm not on TV no more. I could do anyone.
That was rubbish.
Oh, you button it. You do Cilla Black.
I love. Where's our Graham?
That's not Cilla Black. That's the tarty one from Bread.
Same thing. Can you do Sonia?
I don't. For legal reasons, I'm not allowed to mention that.
Do you want to do your Andy
woman.
Murray?
Oh, I'm Andy Murray. I know. I didn't do very well at Wimbledon this year. I got no pants on. What's the tweet we've got there, Catherine?
It's from Mark, the teacher from Bedford. He says, once I got a bottle of absolute vodka, but I knew the family and they knew me. Clearly, it was called for.
You can't give teachers...
booze.
You can't give teachers booze.
Helen in Luton, we all get sucked into giving teachers presents because if you don't, your child feels left out. She's going to have to get used to that. But why do we give them presents? They're only doing their jobs and they get paid for teaching. No other profession gets presents every few weeks.
OK.
Hang on. It's not just at the end of summer term, but Christmas and Easter cost a fortune. At least it tends to stop once they go to secondary school, says Helen in Luton.
What? OK, what other professions get presents? There must be loads.
Nurses. They get chocolates and that, don't they?
No. Yeah. Why would you give a nurse chocolates?
Yeah, when you've had a baby and they've helped pull it out.
No, you don't give
the least
them...
you can do.
No, it's that, again, that's
I sent a beautiful card and got some heartfelt thanks.
No, well, that's... No, that's nonsense. You don't give nurses presents. They're paid a fortune, those girls.
Oh, famously so, yes.
They're paid a fortune. They're doing their job. They love it. They enjoy it. They've got quite short days. They get paid a lot of money. They don't want presents.
I got bought a present once when I worked in a shop.
Oh, what was it? What did he buy you? Yeah, of course it was. He wanted a present from you.
No, I helped him buy some undies for his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. So you helped a transvestite?
No. No. He did that thing of she's about your size.
Oh!
Was the present the underwear?
And his phone number.
No.
And a picture of him in his underwear.
No, it was those flowers that flower named after chocolates that you traditionally used to say thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much.
Roses?
Roses.
OK. That's weird. Why would you... That's weird, buying chocolates for a woman who's bought pants for your wife.
Yeah, but he was really nervous, and I used to find this a lot. When men used to come in to buy pants for wives, they used to hover around the lingerie section. They didn't dare touch them as if it was someone else's pants.
When I walk through the lingerie section in Marks and Spencer's, as I often have to do because it's a shortcut...
Yeah.
Eyes straight ahead, don't look to the left, don't look to the right, I'm not here, I'm not a pervert, I'm not a deviant, I'm out in the food section.
That's so weird. I mean, there's no one in the pants. Sometimes there's a plastic torso in them, but surely that's
some
not...
of those, well, A, blokes, plastic torsos, and B, some of those, the packaging on those pants. Yeah, exactly. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 heading southbound, very slow moving between the Newport Pagnell services and junction 14 for Milton Keynes. On the A509 heading southbound, there's a lane closed at the moment, just at the Northfield roundabout due to an accident. The M1 also looking slow heading further down between junction 13 for Bedford and junction 14 for Milton Keynes on camera. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, slow moving between junction 22 for St Albans and junction 19 at Watford. And in Stanmore, Marsh Lane's closed at the moment. Nelson Road, that's due to a burst water main there. No reported problems on the trains. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Nicola. Right, it's 8:46. It's Thursday, the 17th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A family in Milton Keynes say they don't know how they'll cope after council cuts mean they're being charged for respite care. The Conservatives are drawing up plans to take some power away from the European Court of Human Rights. And vandals have scratched more than 20 cars in South Oxley in Hertfordshire. Let's get the weather. Here's Georgina.
It's Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Georgina? 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 Oh, well, no.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Absolutely picturesque, beautiful bridge to drive over. It's always been a lovely village, local, you know, and quiet.
And all this week, we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
So much going on here, so much.
Living rural, you have rural atmosphere.
Inviting everyone to where you live.
It's a gorgeous village, very picturesque.
I think even when it's raining, it looks nice because it's villagey and pretty.
If you've got a story everyone should hear about, let us tell them about it.
It is home to us and it's just a lovely village. Once you've moved here, you'll never leave.
I'll be here for a long time, I hope.
The big tour of Beds, Herts and Bucks from BBC Three Counties Radio.
Got some texts, Catherine. What have the texts got for us?
We've got loads of texts. Well, we've got 3. Stephen St Albans says, Iain, politicians get presents, but you mustn't let anyone know. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Cheeky, a little bit of satire there.
Hey, morning crew.
What?
Hiya.
Hey,
I got a £40 tip from one of my customers last Christmas in a card. Thanks, says bus driver Jay.
You don't tip bus drivers. That's not. I tipped the postman last Christmas because he's good really good.
We've got a great postie, but just before Christmas she got moved to a different thing, so kept the tip.
How much would you have tipped?
Tenner?
Yeah, I gave a £5 and I feel really bad about it. It's all I had at the time.
Yeah.
It's all I had. And I feel bad because he's really good, my postie.
Yeah, so Sharon...
He puts things over the fence.
Yeah, exactly.
In a sack. He puts them in the sack.
But sometimes that's why they get moved on to different
ones.
I know. Someone complains because they didn't want it.
I know, I like all that.
It means I don't have to knock on my neighbours' doors and annoy them.
Oh, God, not the woman over the road.
That woman.
Oh,
your woman, not my mum.
She hates me.
You get a lot of stuff delivered, don't you? And theatre...
Not to my house anymore. Get sent here now. Got told off for ordering too much stuff off eBay. So I stopped ordering stuff off eBay. What I actually did is I stopped getting it sent to my house. Now it gets sent here. Yeah, in your face. Divorce.
Mark in Bedford, who's a teacher and, to be honest, should be now concentrating on his schoolwork, says theatre actors get clapped after every shift. Who else gets that? I give you a little ripple, don't I? Cricketers, they get clapped a lot.
Cricketers get clapped. I would...
I used to get loads of tips when I was a bar person.
Sorry?
I used to get loads of tips when I was a bar person.
I've been on an aeroplane.
Drinks, Mars bars, crisps.
Yeah, I've been on an aeroplane and we've applauded the pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've done
usually
that
when they've been a bit rubbish and it's been too bumpy.
Yeah. Nice
it's
little
relief clap.
Round of applause. I've been somewhere else where there was a spontaneous round. Have you ever started a spontaneous round of applause? Oh, it's
like in a John Hughes movie.
Yeah. You just start. Just something happens that doesn't really warrant applause, but you just. And people join in. I mean, there's nothing worse than when no one joins in and you're on your own. I've done that as well before.
Then you sound sarcastic and you're trying to be laudatory.
Yeah.
Have you ever started a football chant?
Huh?
Have you ever started a football chant?
I wrote a football chant once, but I've never started one. I've not been in a football match, yeah.
How did it go?
I can't be bothered to do it. It's too long.
Next time we get a really good caller on, we should give him the John Hughes hand clap.
Why is this a sign of approval?
But then sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's sarky.
OK, but generally it's accepted that flesh slapping flesh is the sound of approval. Why? Where has that come from? Why is it not, doing that? Why is it not that?
Not everyone can do that.
Why is it not...
Sometimes it is. Depending on your culture.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't think Indians do that, do they? Native Americans, sorry. Oh, flip, it's a bit political correctness. Gone mad.
Some Arab tribes do it, don't they? That thing with the tongues.
That's the Zulus, isn't it? Is it?
I don't know.
Could really do with a caller, couldn't we?
Yeah, that's what we're still.
If it's you, we'll give you the...
Even Dennis. 08459 455.
We don't need a caller.
What have you got?
Ugh! That's actually in the headline. Ugh!
How's it spelled?
UGH, exclamation mark. Ugh! Fussy eaters who've never tasted celery. I flipping hate celery.
I love it.
I can, if it's whisked up into a soup, a puree, I can smell the celery and I can taste it. I had a bad experience with celery as a child. I don't know what it is, but I know that something happened. Yeah, it may have been something, or that, one of those two. It was probably just in my mouth, but it really did. It's an unpleasant taste, and if it's in a sandwich, and if it's in a soup, 1 in 10. But so celery.
I have family members who used to drink the celery water at the bottom of the jug.
1 in 10 adults has never tried vegetables such as leek. I like a bit of leek.
Leek, good, yes.
Celery and kale. Kale's like rough leaves.
Yeah, but it's really good. I started eating kale about 3 months ago.
No, you're wrong.
If you steam it, listen, it's like cabbage, but it really fills you up. That's why people use it when they're trying to lose weight.
And the only reason you've started... Let me guess. The only reason you've started eating it is because you get one of those vegetable boxes delivered.
No. Guess again. I just hadn't had it before, so I thought I'd try it.
It's such a hippy-dippy, flippy,
you can also
crippy.
You can also drizzle it with oil and salt, put it under the grill and make crisps.
Oh, for goodness sakes, what's wrong with crisps? What's wrong with getting some Pringles? Once you pop, you can't stop.
That's the problem. Moment on the lips, lifetime on the hips.
Some have even managed to avoid tasting the Christmas dinner staple Brussels sprouts. Well, that's just crazy.
Delicious.
Yeah, I love
fairy cabbages.
No.
Love a sprout.
Nope.
And it's not just greens that are getting pushed to the side of our plate, says the Daily... Well, this is weird. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and I need to keep an eye out to see if this happens again, OK? Right. There's a story up there at the top of the page about a court case with a pop singer. That's by Rebecca Camber. Front page story, exclusive by James Chapman, political editor.
He's the one that did the rundown of the ladies' clothes yesterday.
A story about two football players spitting into each other's mouths. That's by Christian Geisim. Do you know who wrote this? Daily Mail reporter. It's nameless.
Work experience.
It's nameless. The study also found 1 in 5 has never tasted sardines or scampi, I've never had those, while 1 in 10 has never had tuna, salmon or goat's cheese.
I tell you why it's not got a name on it. Because they didn't uncover that story, it was a press release about a survey.
But you'd still...
You don't get a byline. No.
You still have to write the story up.
Yeah, but it's not... There's no effort required, really, is there?
Dr. Taj Hargay has written about why I, as a Muslim, am launching a campaign to ban the burqa in Britain.
Yeah, but that's come out of his mind. He's not been sent that.
Becky Barrow is after 1 million fine jobs in a year, ministers hail milestone in recovery.
She's been analysing the figures. She deserves the props.
This guy is such an idiot. This is by David Wilkes. He's not an idiot. The tide stole my car in just 47 minutes. Have you seen this? This fella, right, Paul Redfern, he drives his car onto the beach, right?
Error number 1.
Error number 2 is, well, that's the one and only error. And then he sunk into the sand, and they couldn't dig it out. He called out the car rescue people. They weren't going to drive on there, so it got swallowed by the sea. His car got drowned by the sea. What an idiot! Why would you do that?
Hey, Barry in Northampton sent us a text message.
Yeah, go on.
My son does a paper round, and an elderly lady gives him chocolate eclair sweets every day and £1 every Friday. Barry in Northampton. £1.
So sweet.
I saw an old fella doing a paper round. That always breaks my heart. It's two things that break my heart. Okay, old men doing paper rounds, and old women eating in McDonald's on their own. Oh, it breaks my heart.
Sign of the times.
Oh, it really does make me sad. I feel so sorry for them.
Meanwhile, that old woman's looking across at you and going, "Oh, I feel really sorry for that young man over there."
Middle-aged bloke whose life
going to repeat on him something chronic.
Found in speaking of old people, found in an this is it. You talk about the gun crime and knife crime. You think young people, youths, yobs,
teenagers.
This old fella has got found in OAP's house weapons of war. A pensioner has been arrested after police discovered a cache of weapons, including a missile at his home. He's got a missile. The 40 prohibited weapons are being examined by specialist officers. Police said they arrested a 76-year-old man on suspicion of possessing a prohibited firearm. Look at that, he's got a flipping missile in there. That's nuts, isn't it?
It's quite a collection.
Greater Manchester Police is holding a gun amnesty over the next 2 weeks. Oh, the gun amnesties. Oh,
is that the same bloke that's doing the paper round?
It may well have been. That's what he was funding. How much do you get for a paper round? Like £6 or something? Imagine this guy. I saw a guy doing it the other day. He was in his 70s. He must have been, right? Or he'd had a tough life. Imagine in your 70s delivering papers for £6 a week. How soul-destroying is that?
He might have been doing it for his grandchild, though.
Well, then, shame on his grandchild.
But also, sometimes you do it for a bit of structure, for a reason to get up and out. And maybe he's one of these people who likes to chat to people on his way around. No, I think it's... I once went for a time to university in Spain. As I went, it was like 3 hours a week.
You haven't mentioned that before.
No, hang on. I went for 3 hours a week. My life had no structure whatsoever. I started going to the gym every day.
That's not the same as doing it as an old man doing a paper round.
Sometimes you need to have a reason to get up and dressed.
Maybe he just really likes the news.
And finally, loom bands. I'm obsessed with loom bands. You got one on? I've not got mine on.
I can make them.
Well, yeah, children can make them, Catherine. So that's no great.
My children can't. I make them for them. They're lazy.
You make them for your kids, and then they give them out from them.
Well, I've shown her the basic model. She's quite good with that.
Who's shown her?
But I'm trying something a bit more experimental.
So we had a story the other week about a woman wants warnings put on the packets because they're dangerous. They're not. His brother just flicked it in his eye. Good for him. They're now getting the royal thumbs up because Prince William and Kate are wearing them.
Yeah, I don't think they're choosing to wear them. I think they're being given them on their rounds.
Did you see the dress that went on eBay?
No, made of loom bands.
Made of loom bands. Thousands and thousands of pounds.
Wowzers.
Imagine if she gets caught on a door handle with that loom band dress.
The fella invented them for like something like £5,000. He's now worth £85 million.
Fair play.
I'm sort of making those figures up ever so slightly, but I bet it's something like that. Probably is, isn't it? There we go. I think we managed to fill enough time, didn't we, guys?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's one lane closed at the moment on the A509, heading southbound just at Northfield roundabout. Taking a look at the M1 on camera, looking very slow moving between junction 13 for Bedford and junction 14 for Milton Keynes. In Luton, very heavy moving on Airport Way, just at junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout. And in Kimpton, reports of the High Street there being partially blocked because of an accident just near Claggy Road. And the M25 heading anti-clockwise, slow between junction 22 for St Albans and junction 19 at Watford. Also very in Stanmore, Marsh Lane that is closed at the moment. That's at Nelson Road due to a water main bursting there. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nicola, thank you very much indeed. Right, that's it. That's your lot for today. We're going to record the podcast links now. There'll be a new podcast up tomorrow. If you want to find them, well, you go to iTunes, you type in Iain Lee BBC and look up They Pop. JVS is up next, but from me, just Catherine and Kelly. Ta-ta. We'll be back tomorrow at 6.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Thursday, it's 9 o'clock. And on today's Big Phone In, would it be fair to put a limit on child benefit? Well-known thing